Well, good morning. Good morning. And let me thank you all for coming out today. First, there may be some who don't know me. My name is Yolanda Hinton. Been a member of Bethel for a long time. I am a trustee, and it was the trustees who arranged this training for us this morning. I'm pleased with the turnout. But it would be great to have everybody out because we hope that everybody wants to know how to survive an active threat. But I'm pleased that all of you took the time to come out this morning. I know we're told to trust in the Lord with all our hearts and lean not into our own understandings. In all our ways acknowledge Him and He will direct our paths. At the same time, we need to be prepared. We saw what happened at Emmanuel, AME in Charleston several years ago. And we've seen what has happened at other churches throughout the country. So it's great that you came out to learn what you might do to survive an active threat event. Before we go any further, I'm going to ask Reverend McCormick to open us in prayer.
Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, God. God, as we have come out, Heavenly Father, allow us to be alert, vigilant, but most of all, God, we ask in the name of Jesus that you would be with our facilitators, God, as we learn more and as we are more active, God. God, we trust in you, yes, we do, but God, you also told us, Heavenly Father, that we ought to seek wisdom or ask for wisdom, God. So we are asking for wisdom, God, that we would be alert and oriented, God, but most of all, that we would recognize signs, Heavenly Father, that we would recognize in the name of Jesus, God, that we would be protected, but also, Heavenly Father, that you would get the glory, the honor, and the praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So we have with us today representatives from the Newport News Police Department. We do know that in an event here, Hampton would be the first to respond or have responsibility to respond, but our 14 departments here all work together. They all offer the same kind of training. And Captain Cupp was available today and offered to come in and present this. So I'm going to turn it over now to Captain Randy Krupp of the Newport News Police Department.
Can everybody hear me okay? Without the mic? Okay, great. I'm not used to talking into a mic, so hearing my voice repeat just kind of messes with me a little bit, so I would rather speak like this if I can. But if anybody has a hard time, please let me know. I'll get the mic. This is your class, it's not mine, okay? All right, so my name is Randy Cupp. I'm currently a captain of the Newport News Police Department. I've been there a long time, so I'll just leave it at that. I've been there for a long time. We've been offering some different types of active shooter training for a few years now, for quite a while. And so we've gone through, we've looked at some different programming, and this one that we have, it's called CRASE, Civilian Response to an Active Shooter Event. We really like this one. We're able to tailor it to what we would like to teach. During the presentation today, I'm going to talk about some different active shooter events, some ways that we might be able to prevent an active shooter event, and I'm going to go over some research and kind of show you why the things that we tell you you can do to make yourself safe, why it's like that, and how you can prepare yourself for different types of emergencies, okay? As we get started, I am not very familiar with this building, but I believe all of you are. So I'm going to ask a couple questions every once in a while. If I get some responses, just let me know you're alive. I promise if you don't want to give a dissertation, it's okay. I won't make anybody, but I don't like to, I'm not in love with hearing myself talk for too long at a time. So first off, I know that if I go straight out the back doors, I'm looking at Armstead Avenue, right? Right. What happens if I go back? If I go out these doors and I need to go back, where am I heading? Farm. The farm? Which farm is it?
Farm. Horse farm.
Okay. The horse farm's in the back? Okay. Parking is to my right, your left? Is that where the big parking lot is? Okay, so it's large on this side too? Okay.
In the back.
If I were to leave this room, can I find the red illuminated exit signs anywhere I need to if I need to get out of the building?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that helps me out a whole lot. Do we have an AED or a first aid kit here?
Yes.
Where is it? All right. All right. You know where it is? The AED's here?
Yes.
First aid kit? Who else knows exactly where they are? All right. Who in the room has been trained and knows how to use an AED or keep your hands up? If you're not feeling well and you start passing out, look at the people with their hands up. They are going to help you while we get medics here. Okay?
Y'all stand up, I can't see. In case I need you.
That's great. All right. If there's an emergency and we need 911 here, who's going to call? There we go. All right. All right. So again, real quick, just a kind of a summary of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some different active shooter events. I'm going to tell you just a couple stories. I'm not going to prolong those too long. I'm going to talk about some red flag indicators. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of statistics, not too much. And then we're going to talk about some research that was done called disaster response. And has anybody done a run, hide, fight class? Yeah? Okay. So that is a great foundation. We use some different terms. We say avoid, deny, defend, and words have meaning. And I'll kind of go over why we say that instead. All right? And then at the end of it, we're going to sum everything up with the Virginia Tech case study, the shooting that was at Virginia Tech. It kind of embodies a lot of stuff that we talk about. So we're going to discuss that as well. Okay? So during the presentation, I want to make sure I'm clear. I am going to show you some videos. Some are real life videos. They're not local. Like, we really have tried our very best to find things that have happened throughout the world. Try to limit the chances that you might know somebody in the video. All right. So first and foremost, I want to tell you some of the things that you may see. Your first reaction may be like, "Oh my goodness, what are they thinking?" And I'll explain to you why they might be thinking the way they are. We are not, none of us are making fun of anybody that we see in these videos. Like, none of them ask to be in an emergency situation. However, we are going to learn from them, all right? We all have different ways of dealing with the stress or an instant reaction. So, and all that's okay. If any of the videos are bothering you, there is nothing that is so grotesque that they cannot be shown on the nighttime news. I'm not trying to shock you, I'm not trying to scare anybody. But I want you to see, like, these are real things that happen. Okay, so if anybody has trouble by it and you need to get up and step out to the back, it's fine. We're all friends here, okay? We'll talk about it, all right? So same thing when we talked about like some local things that happen. Some people, you know, we've done this class before, and there's a lot of Virginia Tech graduates in the area, and they're like, I was there when that happened, so I really don't want to discuss it. No problem, all right? It's no problem. We're all friends. We'll discuss it later if you want to, okay? So the reason why we are here is because events like this are happening on a regular basis. And I'll show you the screen. This is an event that happened at the kosher marketplace in Paris, France during the 2015 terrorist attacks. I show you this because these are real reactions to what happens during an active shooter. It is very clear and obvious what the person is there to do. He has an AK-47, a very large magazine. He starts firing, and people are doing all sorts of different reactions. You have people running for their lives. You have people that are just sitting there waiting to be shot. And then most people doing a hybrid, not really sure what to do type thing. So the intentions are very clear, and this is just real, this is real life. We're going to come back and visit the store a couple times. So when I say active threat event, I want to make sure that I'm very clear. When I'm talking about those types of events and some of the statistics that I bring up, an active threat event is when somebody comes in with the intention of harming as many people as possible. So when I'm talking about the statistics, I'm talking about that. I'm not talking about an armed robbery that went bad. I'm not talking about domestic situations. I'm not talking about a back and forth between rival gangs, anything along those lines. This is where somebody's intent was to come in, find victims, and hurt as many people as possible, okay? So the best way that we can prevent being involved in an active shooter incident is to stop somebody from wanting to commit an active shooting. So we talk about some of the different, the kind of profile of what a lot of the suspects that we have gone back on the research, what we have found with it. Now when the part up here I know it says no profile, there's not this like one thing, there's not this one ideology that leads to somebody committing these different acts, all right? It is not always political, left or right wing. It's not always political. It's not always religious. It's not always socioeconomic. It's not always revenge. But it does fall into those different categories. So there's typically somebody that does feel like that they have been wronged, or there's a group that is doing something wrong, and they believe that they are empowered to be an avenger, like that they can seek revenge. Like they, in their mind, they really do feel just in what they're doing. What benefits us is that they do typically tell us, they give us some signs, some broadcast of what they are doing. Where do you think we might find some of that?
Facebook, social media.
Absolutely, social media, Facebook. But a lot of it's also in their actions as well, right? So when we go back after it happens and we do the research and we look at what led up to this, we typically are seeing there were warning signs there, all right? So, but were they picked up on, all right? So that's the first part that we want to kind of talk about. What are those warning signs? So the biggest one is that violence is a part of their life before that shooting. Whether it's in the home, whether it's in their social circles, and I'm not talking about that they pick up a video game or they watch a violent movie, all right? It's beyond that, all right? So usually when they get that, they are familiar with violent encounters. The substance abuse, mental illness, something usually is going wrong. Like there's something going on in their life to want to take out people, like not a person, people. Like they don't recognize that person, like all the relationships that person has, that person is a parent, a sibling, a child, somebody's child, a teacher, a mentor, a friend, right? A role model. Like they're ignoring all of those aspects. And so when that happens, there's something usually wrong. Now, whether that is substance abuse that takes them to that level, or there's some underlying issue that they are trying to treat it with substance abuse, we see a mix of both of those things. The biggest thing that I can say when we're talking about people that you know is it usually escalates. So there is typically, it starts off something small. I know we're not in a school, but I want you to think of the child or the coworker, somebody that is typically withdrawn, kind of keeps to themselves a little bit. Nothing wrong with that, but they typically keep to themselves. They don't have a lot to say, but when they do have something to say, it's something controversial, something or confrontational. They want to do something to get like a shock value out of it, and that's all they really say. Like I like pissing people off. I like riling people up, right? But then it goes a little bit further. After that, maybe they are just outright argumentative with every single thing that comes up. You talk about this topic, a very simple topic, and they will argue against everybody else, argue against the grain. And then it goes even further where they're looking for people. They're looking to start it, whether it's bullying or stalking or looking for that person. Something is happening to escalate that behavior. Right? And if they don't have some type of support, there's not a net, there's no safety net, if they don't have people around them to catch them, they're going to keep on going down that hill. So I mean, just think of that, they're rolling down a hill, and somewhere there needs to be a net, otherwise they hit the bottom, right? And even if we're not talking about something along the lines of an active shooter or active violence, if you see like that behavior deteriorating, like it's time to get involved. And if you aren't the person, if you're not the person and you don't have the means or you don't have the relationship to do that, let's find it, right? In this environment, I'm sure there's a lot of avenues that we could do that, right? A lot of resources that we have available. Workplaces, they have supervisors, policies, things like that. And if it's something that you're seeing at your neighbor out in the community and whatnot, call us, all right? We will start to deal with it. We can only do so much, but we have bridges to so many different resources. And if we think that there's a possibility that somebody is spiraling out of control, whether it's mental, whether it's criminal, wherever it goes, we do have different resources available to us, all right? Police have evolved to a point of we understand everything is not about, it's a crime, we arrest or we don't arrest. We either arrest or we don't bother at all. That's not where we're at anymore, all right? We are in a completely different place now. I'll get right to you, man, one second. We are in a place where we have lots of bridges that we built, a lot of resources, and we can reach out to that person. Yes, ma'am.
On your previous slide,
Yeah,
at the bottom,
sure.
you had a history of
Suicide.
Yeah, you didn't mention anything about that. What, is that, if say a person that actually physically done something? Or is it a person that say they're gonna do it, or what, I just wanted to know what you're thinking.
Sure. We've seen both. We've seen where the suspects had made valid, real attempts, or they really did it, and then we had others that it was a straight up cry for help. So a lot of them were, like, they were in such bad condition, they either thought about that they wanted to end their lives, or they did make an attempt. So it was at all different varying levels that we've seen. So to give you an idea, like, this is research compiled over hundreds of different active shooter events. So both. That's a great question, right? Okay, so we talked about if you have negative family dynamics, if you don't have that support network, what's going to catch somebody? Like when somebody is spiraling out of control, it's not often that they can fix it themselves, right? It's one of the things that we talk about when we talk about officer wellness, we talk about that. Like there's a lot of things that you can control, but when you can't control it anymore, you need to seek help, right? And we don't see that a lot of times out of anybody. There's just a lot of people that don't admit that they need help. So we want to see that. That last one, that change in behavior, is kind of what I've already talked about when you see that behavior just changing. But a lot of times, just in general, you'll see, like, you might have somebody very outgoing, very outspoken, wants to know how everybody's doing. They ask about family. They always positive, upbeat. And then for a while, I'm not talking about a day, but for a while, they're withdrawn, kind of cave into themselves. Internal. Something's probably going on. Again, they're probably not going to just come right out and say anything to you, but I bet you're not the only one that'll notice that. So if you see like a complete change of behavior, not January 1st, somebody's trying to get a healthy lifestyle, nothing like that. But if you see like they're changing the person that they are, something is going on, and maybe it's time to start surrounding them with those resources, all right? And if at first you don't succeed, try again, okay? Because people are very resistant to getting help, all right?
And so now taking all that you have shown us so far, risk factors and some of those other things, I think back to the Virginia Beach City Hall shooter. What category would you have put him in? I mean, wonderful co-worker, you know, as described by some, but whatever it was that got to him, you know, caused him to shoot and kill 13 people.
Yeah.
People that worked with him, people that, you know, I think might have been innocent victims. And is it always an innocent victim? Because I think a lot of times it's, you know, I'm not going to shoot you, so you better get on out of here right quick.
Yeah.
But I'm going to shoot up everybody else that has done something horrible to me in this office complex. How would you describe, or I think like the factors the lady had, you had on the board?
Yeah, so I don't know the Virginia Beach shooter. That part of it, I did not do a lot of research into what happened beforehand. We talked to Virginia Beach a lot afterwards. One, because it hit close to home.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of issues that came out of the Virginia Beach one, which I'll just skip ahead with that one. So one of the problems with Virginia Beach was that individual, so I think he is one of the ones. There are cases where they're indiscriminately picking their targets, but they have like looked at somebody and was like, you were cool, you can go. Like, so that has happened. It's not always targeted, but there are times where they're like, not you. And that happened, I do believe that happened at Virginia Beach.
Yes.
Please don't quote me on that. Yes, ma'am.
It happened in Chesapeake too.
At the Walmart? Okay. So there have been, that does happen. There was one of the instructors that taught this a couple years ago to me. He was in Liberty, Texas, or it's Liberty High School in Texas. And that's what they were talking about was the student showed up with a shotgun, and he had already fired off several rounds. And there was one girl that was always nice to him, and he was almost getting ready to shoot, realized who it was, put the gun down, and just walked right past him. So that has happened on that one. On Virginia Beach, the I don't know. So obviously there were some issues. I do think there were a couple people, I'm going to speak out of turn. on that one, some of the things that we talked to them about from the city perspective of it, one thing was, what do you do with that building now? Like, that's a really big building. Does anybody know what they did with that building? It's a police station now. Like, originally, they were like, let's give it to the police. And the police were like, we don't want it. We had to respond to that. Like, police, we know engineers. We have friends that work in other city departments that respond to that. They completely renovated the inside of it. It does not look anything the same. But that was one of those things. We're like, well, what do you do with it? This was before COVID. This was before teleworking, you know? But nobody wants to come back to that building and work. Another thing was he was a city employee, so he was able to walk through that. It was a secure building. He's able to take his ID card out and just zap it as he goes. Open door and go. Every single door the police got to, they had to force open. They had to breach it, and those were pretty hard doors. So he is like walking, he is getting away from us. So it's almost like we are chasing. The police officers that responded were chasing him through that building, but every door that he went through, he was able to increase that gap for a while. So that was something. So those were things that that's what we really focused in on Virginia Beach. So I'm sorry I don't have all the information on that one. But we'll talk about a couple of those incidents now. I show you this map. These are where active shooters. This is again where I go into the active shooter events. This is where they happened all over the country. All right, starting from 2000. I know on that screen, the illustration really is, it's happening a lot, and it's happening more frequently. When I first started the class, we had from the year 2000 to the year, we had from 2000 to 2014, 2015, 2016, somewhere in that neighborhood, and it was 200 attacks. So that was over the course of from about Columbine to about 2015, 2016, I say only, I'm sorry, it's 200 attacks. From there, we're at 597. So they are increasing, and they are happening all over the country. They happen in areas where there's tight gun control, which I only bring up because do we think that all we have to do is pass a law and the guns go away? No, of course not. There's other things that we have to do, right? Is that part of the solution? Probably. But we do things like this. We come together, we talk about it, we figure out things that we need to do on our own. Like, what do we do to keep ourselves safe? Because these attacks are happening. And in some of those attacks,
I think a mass shooting now is 4 or more victims.
It is in our response. We say any mass casualty is 4, and that's because that is more than one fire station can respond to. So that's why it's called that.
So these 597 attacks, are these 4 or more victims, or how are they defined?
Yep. And it's 4 more victims, and there was an intention to kill more. All right. So those were not a robbery that went bad where 4 people were killed. This is not a domestic situation for 4 people. This is where somebody went in there with the intention of killing as many people as possible. Like Yolanda said at the beginning, we talked about the church in Charleston. We talk about the Walmart, the Chesapeake Walmart. We talk about ODU recently, right? So a lot of these are hitting close to home. So they are happening, all right? Again, there's no test. I like to tell, like when we do this at work, I like to tell everybody, like some of these things might be on the test, there's no test. But the common area that these happen in, the most common area are places of business. Now that includes everything commerce. That's a store, office place, warehouse, anything that's tied to a business. That's why so many things happen there. The schools are actually decreasing, which is good, to a little bit more than 10. I think that's about 13% right now. The second place is now outdoors, and this has fluctuated since I've started teaching the class. Originally, the area of commerce, business has always been the most common place that these attacks occur, but it was schools after that, and then the outdoor areas were a little bit lower. When the others are like civic organizations, churches, private clubs, things like that, that don't get tied into. So that's where the others are. And part of why I think that is happening This one, the red is 64%. This is where the shooter has no connection to the place that they chose to attack. Whereas 36% of the time, they do have a connection. When I first started teaching this class, it was again, it's like 2016, 2017, somewhere in that, the stats that we had, it was almost 50-50. And then it shifted to about 55% of the time they attacked a place that they were connected to. But now they're going to a place that's not connected. And why I think that is happening is because people are doing things to make their workplace, their schools, a harder target. They are also doing things like these programs. Workplaces have help for people that need it. They're identifying things that may lead to something along these lines, like in the schools. So my friend Officer Ford is a school resource officer in Newport News. And one of the things that the school system has, they have threat assessments that do include police officers, counselors, teachers, things like that. So there's different ways that people are going about attacking this problem. So I think that is there, and now people are looking for soft targets. They're looking for places that are not secure, that are easy to find a lot of people and easy to get into, all right? So I'm going to tell you all a couple quick stories, and I'm going to start moving a little bit quicker. So this attack is in 2014. It's at the University of California, Santa Barbara. This one starts off, you have an individual that basically, he's lonely. Honestly, that's kind of what it comes down to. He's lonely. He goes out, he sees these couples having coffee together. He sees people just having fun on campus. They're out and about and just enjoying life, and he is not. And he is jealous of that. So he starts this attack off. He goes to a sorority house out on the campus, and he just stands outside and starts shooting into a sorority house. Police, of course, are responding to that, but he's gone by the time they get there. He goes down the street a little ways, and there's like an outdoor cafe, a coffee shop that has like outdoor seating. And he just stops his car. He starts just shooting indiscriminately because he sees several couples sitting outside enjoying a cup of coffee and socializing. Moves on from there. Police are responding to that. They're closing in on him, and he just starts going down the road, and he's just shooting at random people on the sidewalk. The reason I tell you this story is because this is not that traditional sense of an individual went into a school, started firing, and then waited for police to come and have a confrontation with them. This one, it changed. Like, he had a target, and it just kept changing, and then he kept moving. He stayed in the car. So, like, at that point, that's not something that we really thought about either. It happened again in, not La Brea. It happened again in California, where a couple, they went from place to place. So, like, these targets move. So just because it started one place doesn't mean that's where it's going to end. That person may just keep on going. All right, so I tell you that story real quick just because of that. Pulse nightclub, this one, I learned more about this, like, as I was teaching. Somebody told me a story. I did a little more research on it. This one is quite interesting. So, originally, our suspect was going to attack at Disney World. Who's been to Disney World? Okay. Recently? Since 2016? Okay. All right. So originally, he's going to go to Disney World. When he arrives at Disney World, the plan was, this was a big plan, several people were going to bring in parts of a rifle. They were going to hide those parts throughout the park. He was going to go into the park, he was going to assemble the rifle and carry out the attack. So he wasn't trying to carry a rifle through security. But he gets there, and once you go down, once you get on the boat, or you come across the monorail, you see that big giant castle, but as you get up, what do you see? When you get right up front? Security. See security, right? You see fences, like, so does anybody pick up on anything else that security has there that you don't typically see with security? It's not guns. Dogs. They have dogs up there. So he is deathly afraid of dogs. He's like, nope, nope. Walked up there, saw it. Nope, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So then he goes in, he starts looking around, he's like, well, I'm still gonna do this attack. So he goes to what is now Disney Springs. It used to be downtown Disney. So if you haven't been, downtown Disney it was still pretty big, but huge investment by Disney They made this really big area. It's not a theme park. It's high-end restaurants, themed restaurants, shopping. There's like one row. I've been a couple times. There's like one row that it's like the stores that you would expect to see on Rodeo Drive type things, right? But it also has Rainforest Cafe, House of Blues, things like that. So it's a big open area, and you park, you go in there. So he looks at this area, and he says, man, this is not good either. I can get here easily, but as soon as I start shooting, there's so many pathways out that this crowd is going to disperse very quickly. There's police officers there, there's security there, and if he really knew, there's a lot of people watching too. It's like Disney. They have cameras all over the place. So he says, this is not good. So he goes to Pulse nightclub. I believe he had patronized this place before. This is a hate crime. He did target the patrons at this club. He goes inside and everything's closed up. There's metal detectors, but he has a rifle, and the guards there do not. So he just starts shooting. Shoots his way through, gets inside, everybody's trapped in there. Now the people that are there are mostly locals. Orlando is a big city. They hear about violence all the time, right? Gun violence, they probably hear gunshots, they hear about it all the time. So they are thinking this is just some kind of confrontation. They jump down on the ground to hide, thinking that the conflict will be over and the shooters will run away, because that's what they hear about happening, is that there was a shooting and the car drove away and they're looking for the sun. So that's what they're expecting to happen. But that's not what he was there for. He was there to kill as many people as he could. So he looks at all these people just laying on the ground. He just starts shooting them while they're laying on the ground. Now this one was really troubling for the police officers that responded. Once they got there, there was an indication he had made some point, or he did something that made it look like there was an explosive device on the door that would lead into that main club area. We can't walk past the bomb. Like we can't. So it took a while, but the Orlando Police Department that responded, they had to actually break through the wall, like the Kool-Aid Man, to actually get in there. So that delayed a lot of time of where we could get to start treating the victims and eliminating that threat. So that's why Pulse nightclub was so big. But I tell you that story, again, here you had a person that had a plan, but those security measures in place. Yes, sir.
That Pulse nightclub shooting had ties here on my street. One of the persons was actually there.
Okay.
And it was kind of strange because the day or two before she went there and it happened, I saw her go past. And the person who, her daughter was lost her life here, lives on my street.
No. I'm sorry. And yeah, that's what I said. This is a small world. It is. So on that one, I mean, and that's part of the reason, like a lot of times we can get there quick and we can start treating it. I'll talk a little bit about that later on as we get going. But when we're delayed to, one, stop the threat, and then two, to start giving treatment, it costs lives, so we work on that. Las Vegas happens the very next year. Who's been to Vegas? All right. So this concert is on the Strip. It is on like a footing that is so big that it could be a casino. If you have not been to Las Vegas, those casinos are several city blocks big. They're their own city. All right, so we're talking about a really big piece of land, all right, where this is happening at. Our shooter is on the other side of the road, so 6 or 8 lane highway, up in a casino, firing down into the crowd. So if you picture, the Strip is here, the airport sits right behind the Strip, right? And then this venue is here. So he starts firing, he starts shooting for a long time actually. But the people that are the victims of this one, they're at a country music concert in Las Vegas. There's all sorts of sounds going on around them. They are not going to hear a gun being fired in the distance. You're just not going to hear that, right? You're hearing music, there's people drinking, there's dancing, loud people beside you, right? It's a concert. So they're not hearing that. But he's shooting at the gas tanks at the airport, trying to make a big fire. It just doesn't work out. So So then he starts firing into this crowd. As he's firing into the crowd, he's not just targeting one little area. He is firing all over this huge venue. So somebody way up at the front of the stage gets shot. Well, a couple people around here might realize that. The next person that's shot is way over here by a bar, right? And then somebody over here gets shot, and somebody over here. So it's taking a long time for people to realize there's a problem, because if you're back here, you have no idea what happened up there, right? So police are starting to get indications that there's a problem. And they are getting reports that there are 4 separate active shooters inside the venue. And that seems reasonable based off the information that people have. Because at that time, somebody up front got shot, so they're thinking somebody's attacking up front. Somebody else is attacking over here by the bathroom. Somebody else is attacking over here by the merchandise. Somebody else is attacking back here by the bathrooms, right? So they are bringing all these resources into the venue trying to find this active shooter. But nobody actually sees it. So it takes a little while, and they're realizing those gunshots are coming across the highway into the venue. So now they have to refocus and start moving underneath that fire to get up to that casino. Now that individual ended up barricading the rooms, everything. So it took a while to get into it, but he ended up killing himself before the police got there. And that one, they still don't know exactly what his motive was. They have been researching this for the last 9 years, and it's inconclusive exactly what his motivation was. So I tell you all that because this is an outdoor venue. This one is the largest. This one had the most victims, and that's the reason why. Is because it took a long time for people to realize his opportunity was there for a long time. It took people a long time to seek treatment and to get to cover and realize what was happening. A lot of targets. He had plenty of time, so that's why that one was so bad. Now we talk about guns. We talk about active shooters. In this case, 2017 individual goes to a home repair store with a driver's license and a credit card, and he rents a truck. He drives to Times Square. He gets up on the sidewalk. And he starts running people over. Police are able to wreck him, and he gets out of the car with a knife. He starts chasing people with a knife, but the police are able to subdue him. So here you have a method of attack that doesn't involve any firearms. Now I'm going to tell you, when we do our special events planning, these are the things that we worry about more, right? We can do gun detection systems. We can do things like that. And we have all those we've been doing for years, right? But it's these vehicle attacks that are really scary because, I mean, it's hard to stop a charging car from coming in. So I tell you that because these are just different types of attacks. I want to tell you about this one really quick. This is a church in Sutherland Springs. Individual comes into a church. He lived like 45 minutes away. I don't remember exactly why he picked this one. But everybody's in the church, facing this way. They are welcoming. Anybody who wants to come in is welcome inside, right? So he comes inside, he just starts shooting into the pews. Fires off all his rounds and decides that wasn't good enough. He was going to go back outside and get some more. So he goes back to his vehicle where he had more ammunition. There was a neighbor who lived across the street that heard the gunfire and said, "Oh, I know what's going on." Loaded up his personal weapon, went over there, confronted the individual in the parking lot. Individual said, "Nope, don't want any of that." He had an arsenal of ammunition and weapons in there versus this one citizen with the weapon. But as soon as he was confronted, he took off, he ran, all right? I believe he killed himself as police were chasing him. All right, so I tell you that part to it because a lot of times, like as these attackers are attacking, they feel unstoppable. They feel like they can just impose their will and do whatever they want. And once their brain gets reset of, "Oh no, I can't, I have a challenge," a lot of times that changes. All right, so I tell you all that story just for that. The two driving factors for the number of deaths that occur are the target availability, like I talked about Las Vegas, and how quickly police arrive. I promise you, on how quickly police arrive, it is something that we are working on all over the country. Newport News, we're working on it. I know Hampton is working on it. I know that the other 7 cities are working on it. This is a regular thing in our profession that we talk about. To give you an idea of the evolution of that, is during Columbine, when that happened, the thought, kind of the profession thought process was you had attackers inside the school with rifles. That's a SWAT mission, right? So the patrol officers respond, create a perimeter, isolate the threat, and the SWAT team was going to go in and deal with it. That is a lot of time. Like, I mean, you're calling people in off duty, so they have to drop everything they're doing. They have to get there. They have to arrive. They have to get their equipment on. They have to come up with a plan. All the meanwhile, every single gunshot could be another life. And in that one, there was a teacher who was shot in the ankle that bled out because nobody stopped that bleed. A gunshot to the ankle is nothing that any of us want to experience, but it's a very survivable injury. And it was just that simple of an injury that nobody got to him to stop that bleeding. He bled out again from that. So we as a profession had to say that's not acceptable. We can't allow that. So we ended up, we retrained nationwide, part of just our profession, and we came up with this method of how we were going to form basically a quick response team of a 4-person team. I think this is still before your time. Okay. So we had we were taught to do this diamond formation. We had a formation that we would go in, not trying to give away too many trade secrets, but first 4 people that get there, we're going to form up, and we're going to go inside. Well, that's great. If you have a department of like 500 people, and you can get 4 people there within a minute and a half, that's wonderful. But even then, that's still not enough. So we train regularly on how are we going to get in there quickly. First things first is eliminate the threat. So we're going to give ourselves the advantage. We're going to go in. We're going to figure out how do we win. We're going to do that. Then the next problem is, hey, we were good at that. Like, we've done very well at training. Like, ever since you start the basic police academy, we teach you high-risk things, stress inoculation. We do that. But now, what about the victims? What about when you have more than one victim? Now, all of us that work the road for a little bit of time, we've responded to bad things. And we can, on our one-on-one, we can help treat victims. So what happens when you have several? Well, now we need to start being a little more organized with that. So we work on that. We work on our notifications. So with every tool that we have, there's radio calls that go out, there are text messages that go out, there's geofencing that we can do to shoot messages out. So we are working on how quickly can police arrive. So today, though, we're going to talk about target availability. Okay? So that's what we need for you. This has not really changed much over the years. The average response nationwide to an active shooter is about 3 minutes. All right? In the cities, I mean, I'm going to tell you, in Newport News, when we've had the school shootings, this is once we're notified. When we had those school shootings, when we had a Heritage at Rich Neck, we had people on scene and somewhere in the neighborhood of a minute and 20 seconds, all right? So we're coming, and we're coming very, very quickly, all right? But this gives you an idea. How long do I need to keep myself safe? How long is it going to take police to get there? If you are in the cities and you are in a very condensed area, there's probably police officers nearby. They're going to be there pretty quick, all right? So how long do I need to have a plan to make myself safe, all right? So that's why I tell you that. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about some research that was done by a lady named Amanda Ripley. She is a reporter for Time Magazine. She responded to all sorts of different disasters, attacks, accidents, things like that. And when she interviews the survivors, she's like, one thing that keeps coming up is the survivors want to tell us, they want to teach us, like, this is what I did to survive. So, like, they want to tell us that, but that doesn't sell Time Magazine. The story just sells Time Magazine. So she's compiled all these notes, and over the years she said, you know what, there's something. There is something that these people are doing that are giving them the chance to survive that the others are not. Why is it that there are people that were in the World Trade Center above where the planes went in that made it out safely, but there are people on the 5th floor that did not? Why is it that there are people that are on the beach moments before a tsunami wave hits survive, but the people that were back here, like across the street, did not? Now that one, I'll tell you a quick story from her. I believe it was in Sri Lanka, but it was a tsunami in the Pacific Islands. where a tourist, he shows up, gets to the beach at the Pacific Ocean. He walks out to the beach. What do you expect him to see at the beach? Water, right? Yeah. Especially at an ocean beach, right? I mean, we're kind of spoiled. The ocean's right there. If you go to Virginia Beach one day and there's no water, there's a problem, right? He goes to this Pacific Ocean beach, and the water in the Pacific Ocean is not there. It's like, looks around, nobody's really doing anything. It's like, oh. So he goes back, talks to the concierge. He says, hey, where's the water? I don't know. Low tide. I don't know how many of you go to the beach, but I've been to the beach lots of times at low tide. The water's still there. He said, no, that's not right. He goes, well, have you ever seen, does that happen every day? Is this like a normal thing? He said, no. I've never seen that happen before in my life. So he's having this conversation, and this student, 10, 11 years old student, is listening to the conversation and says, oh, we learned about this in science class. There's a tsunami coming. They're like, no, we have alarms. We have an alarm that'll go off and tell us that a tsunami's coming, and then we take cover. He goes, no, that's what happened. There was an earthquake in the ocean. The plates shifted. The water goes into the plates. And then as they shift back, the water brings in a lot of its friends, and it comes back. Right? And so the tourist is like, he's right. I've heard that. That's exactly what's happening. So they go out, they start trying to convince, probably a beach, maybe half the people are tourists, but a lot of people know better, right? Hey, we have to get off the beach, there's a tsunami coming. A lot of people are like, no, we have alarms, stupid tourists. We have alarms. Relax. Other people get their cell phones out, walking out, look. Right? Every moment they are doing that, which is going to take me to the next thing. Every moment that they are doing that is allowing that water, that threat, to get closer and closer to them. Right? So she comes up with this survival art, which you'll see now. The denial, deliberation, decisive movement. This is what Ms. Ripley refers to as the survival art. And she says if you get through these three things, the best, the fastest, you're going to give yourself exponentially a better chance of surviving. That's what the survivors are doing. So that denial aspect of it is something is wrong, and I have to recognize something's wrong. All right? I'm going to show you a quick little video so that I can be quiet for a minute about what happens in crowds and why people might act that way.
Place like this street in New York City, if you were unfortunate enough to be the victim of a crime or taken ill unexpectedly, you might think that surrounded by all these people, someone would intervene. After all, isn't there safety in numbers? Psychologists say no. Research suggests that often a victim is less likely to receive assistance when surrounded by a group rather than a single bystander. When people are in a crowd, it's easier to pass the buck. It's what psychologists call the diffusion of responsibility. Liverpool Street Station in London, a busy thoroughfare for commuters. Unknown to these passers-by, Peter is an actor. As part of an experiment on bystander apathy, he's pretending to be ill.
Help.
How long before he gets help? Helping would be inconvenient or even risky. He lies there for more than 20 minutes and no one raises an eyebrow.
Please, somebody help me.
It's always very distressing to watch situations like this where people are obviously suffering and no one's actually helping them. But what we have here is two conflicting rules. One is the rule that we ought to help, and the other is the rule that we ought to do what everybody else is doing. And here you have effectively a group of strangers who are exerting the pressure not to intervene, not to help. And it's very difficult to rebel.
Ruth, another actor, takes Peter's place. How long before she receives help? Four minutes later, and 34 people have passed without stopping.
Well, people don't really want to know. They just haven't got the time. Well, they have got the time, they just don't want to get involved.
Unwittingly, these strangers have silently formed a temporary group with a rule: don't get involved. They're afraid to stand out from the crowd and won't take action if no one else does. This woman has clearly spotted Ruth, but she conforms to the rule and does nothing. Watch what happens, though, when someone else helps.
You alright? You alright?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, you look a bit flicky, you know what I mean?
She suddenly finds herself in a different group with a new rule: to help.
You wanna sit up? You alright, yeah? Sure.
First I thought she was dead. Then I sort of checked to see if she was breathing or not. And I looked around and I couldn't believe that no one had noticed her because there was a bloke sat there just absorbed in reading a newspaper.
This time, Peter's dressed as a respectable gentleman. Now that his dress is in keeping with those around him, how long before he's rescued?
Hello, sir. How are you today? I'm alright.
6 seconds. She even calls him sir, and suddenly everyone's a good Samaritan.
Do you suffer from epilepsy?
No.
Why you're lying on the floor in the rain?
Because he's part of the right group. Everyone wants to help.
I would just hate to be in his position of feeling ill and nobody helping him walking past, so I'd just like to check that he was okay. And I thought, well, it's wet, so he must really be ill because he's going to ruin the suit anyway.
Alright, so he says in that, something must have been wrong, he's going to lay down and ruin his suit, right? So, we can relate that to a lot of different crowds. Now, I know in this one, a lot of times we see fraudsters, we see people that are laying down, it's like, well, look, I know that a lot of times that's a scam, I'm not putting my safety in there. But this is an example of why does the group not intervene? And that diffusion of responsibility, I think, is the best way of summing that up. It's not my problem, it's somebody else's, right? Now, I would imagine if you were to be out somewhere, and you're in a place that you have no authority, it's not your responsibility, you have no responsibility, you're out shopping or you're out walking, whatever the case may be, you see something off in the distance, I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if it isn't, right? It's easy to just move on from that, right? What's the crowd doing? It's just easy to move on. If it's inside the church or somebody you know, right? You're not going to diffuse. You're not going to send that responsibility to somebody else. Oh my goodness, that's somebody I know. They would do this for me. I'm going to come over and get Chuck, right? This happened beyond that experiment. There's like plenty of things that have happened where the same types of things, and it's the same phenomenon that they're talking about. There's been rapes that have happened in public. There's been, like, I don't want to get too graphic, but like where it's happened on a public beach, it's happened in a parking lot outside of a school before a dance, where people just walked by, didn't say anything, walked right past authority figures, didn't say anything. And they go back there and like later on they find out what happened, they reviewed the cameras and they watch people just walk away, right? And that's why they're afraid to get involved. They don't want to get involved with it. So the crowd on its own is just not going to tell you that something is wrong. All right, so it's easy just to deny, to say like, hey, that's not a problem. There's another example, even in the new digital world. Another example is there was a special needs student that was being tortured, bullied online, while the kids were filming it. Like they were filming it, posting it, streaming it. And everybody that's watching it, a lot of viewers, every single person that was watching it knew the people involved because that's how you can stream. They had to be one of your friends. But nobody was reporting that, right? So I bring that up. So denial, like something is wrong. Something, your body is sensing something is going on. Don't deny it. Like, I need to just do something else. I need to investigate this. Even if you're not the responsible party, notify the authorities. All right? See somebody kind of like laying down in an area that doesn't look right? Call us. Go tell hotel management, whatever the case may be, right? If you are at the beach and there's no water, just go ahead and leave. It's not going to be a good beach day for you. Just leave, right? If you're at work and you smell smoke, don't just assume somebody's burning the popcorn in the microwave, all right? That is probably what's happening, but go make sure, right? Let's just go make sure, right? If you hear the loud pop, 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 assume it's gunfire, right? If there's no construction going on in the building, assume it's the worst, and let's push past it out. Your body is alerting you for a reason. It's telling you something is wrong. The more time that you deny, and it is natural that we want to reason with ourselves and make it okay. That's just popcorn burning. That's somebody just hammering. That's somebody hammering where there's no construction.
Yeah, and don't hold your train of thought, but I just wanted to say, I don't think I know the sound of gunfire versus
Fireworks.
yeah,
A lot of people don't, but you know what? Don't assume it's fireworks.
You said don't.
Don't assume it's fireworks.
Okay.
Now, July 4th, maybe. Well, no, it's both. It's both. Yeah.
January 1st.
I'm gonna tell you a quick story, a very quick story. Individual is sitting out. This was a case that we had. The individual is sitting out. He's on his back porch, smoking a cigarette or something, and he hears pop, 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 pop. He's like, it's fireworks. What's going on? And so he goes up to the edge of the balcony trying to see some fireworks. He's like, man, this is great. It was summertime. He's like, he's just thinking 4th of July leftovers and whatnot. All of a sudden he starts hearing, he's like, uh-oh, people are coming through the woods. And then he starts hearing like the rattling of the fence, and ching, like that. And he was like, don't come over that fence, like that. And then he hears some expletives and he hears something drop and they take off running. So here's a guy who's just like sitting back looking for the fireworks. Luckily, those kids took off running. It was a shooting. Like so, and we talked to him, which is how we know. He's like, yeah, this is what happened. I was on my porch and I heard that, and he got up to go look at it. Another one on New Year's Eve one year. Okay, last story, I promise. New Year's Eve one year, individual decides at midnight, I'm gonna go outside because neighbors like to fire off fireworks, right? Well, neighbors also like to shoot off guns on New Year's Eve. So he goes outside looking for these fireworks. He's hearing pop, 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 pop. One of the bullets comes. What goes up must come down. Right. Bullet comes down, hits him right in the stomach. Don't do that. I know everybody likes fireworks, but that's why the fireworks are dangerous. All right. So that's just an assumption, right? But something is wrong if you aren't sure. Like, how far are those loud pops? I'm going to assume the worst type thing. Don't just run outside. What? Please don't. I would love for you to have that information for me, but I would rather you just kind of peek out or look at your security camera and tell me. Please don't put yourself in danger for that. Just assume, call us, let us know. One thing that we learned with our shot spotter, with our gun detection system, is that it's only something like 15% of gunfire. Gunshots actually get reported. So that system tells us, like, hey, there was gunshots here, and then nobody ever called about it. That happens 85% of the time. Like, nobody ever calls, so we don't know. All right, so I tell you that. So whatever that is, whatever your body is sensing, don't deny it. Something is wrong. Now let's get to deliberation. Deliberation is, where's my plan? What am I going to do about it? Right? So as you're going through deliberation, you're going to use one of these two things. You're either going to use your human brain or you're going to use your lizard brain. What do I mean? What does the human brain do the lizard brain does not? Think? Reason. There we go, right? Totality, taking all totality of the circumstances into account, and then we're going to make a decision, right? Later on tonight, this is my best example. This one, I love this example. I can't do it all by myself. Later on tonight, we're going to be decompressing, and you're going to think to yourself, I think I'm hungry. You can get up, you can go into the fridge. Unless you all have somebody that refills that fridge without you knowing, I bet you know what's in your fridge right now. Right? Right? Most of you know exactly what's in that fridge, but we're still going to go look, right? Yeah. Maybe there's something in there. I get up and go. Then we go to the pantry. You do know what's in there. Every once in a while you find something that you pull something down, you look at the calories in it. What time is it? Yeah, its expiration date. How long has it been in there? All right? But it's all right. So we're looking at the calories. Is it going to give me indigestion? It's late. It's a lot of sugar. Is it going to keep me awake? Did I get these for the school lunches? If I eat it now, then what happen? Right? We're doing all of that. What's in the refrigerator? How many calories does it have? Is it going to give me heartburn? Will I have it tomorrow? We're doing all of that thought to answer the very basic question, am I hungry? Right? That's our human brain. Lizard brain? I'm sorry guys, when I usually do this presentation, I have a screen behind me. So when I point back here, I think I have a screen. It's my muscle memory, I'm sorry. The lizard brain, you see him licking his lips?
Yeah.
If food is in striking distance, he's going to reach out there, he's going to grab his food, he's going to eat. He's like, you know what, I was hungry, right? That is great survival instincts sometimes. But in case of an emergency, maybe that's not the best way that we want to put our lives on the line of what am I going to do when I'm faced with a sudden incident that I was not expecting to, right? The lizard brain is going to tell us to run, fight, or we're going to be so stressed that we're going to freeze, deer in headlights, I think, all right? That's the only things that our lizard brain is going to be able to tell us to do. Our human brain, on the other hand, this is why the lizard brain goes. Our human brain, on the other hand, is going to start to process different things. We're going to start thinking to ourselves, self, where's that smoke coming from? It's coming from there? I don't want to go there, right? The lizard brain might have us just run into that smoke. It may have us run into that threat. It may give us sudden courage that we're going to fight and we really probably shouldn't fight, right? So why does that happen? It's because the stress just causes something different. So like right now, if anybody's wearing a Fitbit or a smartwatch, something like that, and you take a look at your pulse, it's probably into like 70, 71, 72, somewhere in there, right? When you're there, 80. Okay, what's a little high? We're talking about something. So when you're there in that white, even to a little bit of that yellow, that's heartbeats per minute based off stress, all right? Not when you go to the gym, you know, you still have control of your heart rate. You're running on the treadmill, you can slow down. You can lift less weight, right? You still have control of that heart rate. But this is, the stress is inducing your heart to just thump, 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 right? Just go faster and faster and faster. So right now, you have all of these senses. Your body is open, right? I can tell that it's about 70 degrees in here. As I stand here and face the crowd, if somebody were to kind of come in about here, I can see both my hands, right? So my peripheral is wide open. If the AC were to kick on, I might be able to hear like that subtle fan noise. I might be able to smell a fragrance from somebody sitting a couple rows away. So my body is taking in all of these things. I have my fine motor skills available. I can work on a robot. I can paint a picture, right? I can do all those little things because I can focus. My body can shift its attention where it wants to. As the stress rate increases, my body is going to decide subconsciously where it's going to put those resources. So it's going to start dedicating that 100% of energy. It's going to start shutting down things it doesn't need, and it's going to focus on other things. So we get to that red, that 120, that's like your game mode. Adrenaline starts coming in. My peripheral, I might shrink it a little bit to hear. I might not be listening for these subtle noises, but I'm listening for conversations, words, things like that. My muscle memory, like when I keep doing this, my muscle memory is like setting in, not necessarily my fine motor skills. So all of those things are happening, and I can't really control it. Now, that's really good for when we're in survival mode. But once we start pushing past that, it gets dangerous, all right? So at about 150, we start getting in that gray. My peripheral, if I were to see a threat come through that door, my peripheral is about this wide, right? It's like this wide. Anything that's trying to come through there, I don't see it anymore. Somebody could be behind me telling me something. I don't hear them because my cone of attention is there. Everything is focused there. My brain is not processing everything. Like if I'm responding to a shooting, and I see somebody there, I'm like focusing on their hands. I'm looking for a gun, right? I'm looking for it. I'm not assuming. I'm looking for that. I can have somebody standing right beside me, telling me like that's another police officer or that's not a gun, something like that. My body has blocked that out, right? That's my lizard brain going in. That 175 beats per minute. That black, the reason why that's in black is because that's all you see. That's the freeze. That is, they're gone. They don't hear anything. There's too much stress on that person to keep moving. They can't control it. So the body, as a safety mechanism, shuts down. That's the freeze. If you see your partner did that, they can't help it. This isn't going to work. All right? So that's why we do that. That's the dangers of lizard brain. So we want to use our human brain. I want to show you stress response. We're going back to that kosher market in Paris, France. You're going to see a couple of different things in this video. The different stress responses. You're going to see people who are very focused. They know, you know what's happening at the front of the store. The individual come in, those of you that weren't here, the individual come in with a machine gun. He's firing rounds indiscriminately. And as those gunfires are going off, this is in the back of the store. So you're going to see people, they see an exit, boom. They don't see anything out of the peripheral. Going straight for that exit. That's it, right? You have other people, I don't know what to do. All right? And then that loss of fine motor skills. You're going to see a lady come in the frame that is struggling to get her child out of the buggy. All right? So you just see a couple of different things in here, so to give you an idea what it actually looks like. I don't advocate knocking the man that can't find his way out to the ground. But you see, like, gunshots are going off. There's people that don't know what to do. Lizard brain's kind of set in. Some very focused, game mode, exit, off I go. Right? Others are like, oh, here, I'm going to help you up. You got it? That's probably in that red. Where do I want to go? What do I want to do now? And we're going to come back to the story here a little bit later. But that's a different stress response. So this aspect of it, this deliberation part, I want to take away the active shooter, take away the guns for a minute, and just tell you about a fire. Now this one is, the nightclub is called The Station. It was in, oh man, I'm blanking. It's in Rhode Island. I want to say Warp, Rhode Island. An 80s band comes to perform that night. And anybody do codes and compliance work in here? Yeah? You know this story?
No.
About the station?
No.
Okay. All right. Again, as I teach the class in Newport News, a lot of the guys from Codes and Compliance, this was kind of like their profession's Columbine, what they kind of explained it to me. So an 80s band has come to perform. For those of you that remember, I see a lot of young faces out here, but in the 80s, what special effects? Pyrotechnics, there you go, fire. All right? So that's what this band is. It's Great White comes to perform. They bring their fire show with them. They are in so they're in an enclosed nightclub, and the laser light doesn't work on TVs. So along the bottom of this, to the bottom right, is a walkway, and that's the door. Hey, thank you. And then the entrance hall, it's like a little tunnel. This is where you come in. This is meant to slow you down. They're going to check and see if you bought your ticket, or you pay whatever your cover charge. Probably going to check and see if you're of age to drink. Maybe check to see if you have weapons, things like that. So they're going to do that. Right there, you go into the club. You got a big main room up here to the right. So that's a big open dance floor. Some pool tables to the right of that, some tables to the left. The stage is up top. You see where number 4 is. That's where the tour bus is going to come park. There's an exit right there. The dressing room for the band is right behind it. And then at the back is the main bar, the kitchen. So that's kind of a layout of the nightclub. The band gets up on stage. They're up on stage performing. And the pyrotechnics turn on, and it starts a fire. Now, full disclosure on this place. The reason why it's as bad as it is because there are a lot of safety features that were just ignored. All right, codes inspectors did not do their job. To give you an idea, people went to prison over this incident. Not they got sued and lost a lot of money, that happened too, but people went to prison because of how bad this was. There's no suppression system. There's no illuminated exit signs. Each one of those red dots illustrates an exit that was there. None of those are lit up. So this was, one thing that they did do is they were getting a lot of complaints about the noise. So in the back of that stage, that little cutout in the back of the stage, they sprayed some acoustic foam in there to kind of keep that bass from going out into the neighborhood to keep it quiet. So when that stage caught fire, there's now poison fumes in the smoke. All right, so that's one thing that they did do. So the fire breaks out. I'm going to show you all a video of what happened in there when that did happen. Okay, so that's basically a layout. So the stage is right here. Our photographer in this phone, he's basically got his cell phone up, and he's up here at the stage, and he's recording the show. Okay? Shoot. Hit the button too quick. There we go. I did it again. Sorry. This way. There we go. All right, so he's up. Fire just goes on. Now look where the fire goes. Oh, he sees it, right? No denial. Back he goes. Right? He's leaving. Look, here we go. Now people are recognizing. Not part of the show, folks. Not part of the show. These are the stop. See in the back, no exit signs. There you go. 30 seconds in, the alarms finally sound. 30 seconds in, and the world has changed. Right? What options do you have right now if you're on that dance floor? Nothing, right? You see, that's that tunnel area right there. You see how condensed that gets? That's the smoke right there. So 1 minute has created a very, very different situation. Right? Alright, so going back to the same diagram, every single one of those orange discs represents an individual that did not make it out of the club that night. Alright, and then another 11 died of smoke and ventilation while they were there, and then after, like people who just died of health problems afterwards. So it's over 100. What happened during that fire is the majority of the crowd, they only know the one way in, right? They all came through that tunnel to get into the club. So now there's a fire inside the club. They go to Lizard Brain, I have to leave. Without thinking their way through, like all the different options. There were 4 exits. There's 4 exits. There's one, which not many people are going to run past the fire at the stage. There's one over here behind the stage. You have your the tunnel where you enter, and then there's one behind the main bar, and then there's one right there at the kitchen, and there's also a door at that kitchen. So there's 10, 19, 20 people back there by that kitchen that could have gone out that door. 3 people at that main bar that could have gone through that door. Also, along the front are glass windows. It took a while, but somebody finally broke those windows out, right? So, but you're thinking Lizard Brain, I have to leave. The only way that they knew to go in was to go back out that entrance. What we want to do is we want to use our human brain, right? Before the incident happens, before emergency happens, we want to go through, we want to say to ourselves, like, what am I going to do if, right? Where are those different exits? Yes, sir?
I just want to make sure, you said the orange blobs did not make it out?
Yes.
Okay.
They died, yeah. All of the orange circles, it's over 100. That's 100 inside, I think 11 died outside the night of, and then people had health problems later on from it. It's a lot of people.
So you're asking, well, I do. I look for egress wherever I go.
Yep.
I'm automatically looking for egress.
That's right.
I'm automatically looking to see where I can get out of any place I go, movies, whatever.
Yep.
I'm automatically.
Yeah. Right, right. That tunnel, yes, sir.
We can't hear what he's saying.
I don't know that they were over capacity on it. It is met, again, a lot of things were ignored. So I don't even know if they know how many people were in there, like to start.
Right, because a lot of times.
We can't hear what he's saying.
So what he's asking about is he said, or were they over capacity?
Yeah. Sometimes when you have an event or whatever, sometimes more people come than expected, and you just let them in rather than say, oh, we're at our limit. And yet, we in the church have our exit doors, signs over the doors, so in case something like that happened, fire or something, we can see those signs at exit.
Absolutely.
But a lot of times, clubs or whatever that is, don't have all those. And then they crowd a lot of people in, and they just stumble over each other.
That's right. Absolutely correct. And on this one, that tunnel, it is meant to narrow. It is meant to funnel people in to slow the ingress, right? For all of those things. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know, if you want to like ask something, just, I don't know, like raise your hand high or something so I can give you a microphone, okay?
All right, if you have questions, please. I will move faster. Like, if anybody needs to leave at 12, you will be done at 12. All right. I'm still around. Like, I'll be happy to answer questions. But this whole thing with the station is that they are trying to slow you down as you come in. Right? We do not want a bottleneck exit. You want lots of ways of egress. Like, you need, by code, you have to have that. You have to be able to disperse quickly. Kind of like what we talked about at Disney Springs, right? Our suspect knew that. He's like, look at how quickly these people can leave. Right? Here, just like Paul's nightclub, they're trapped. Right? Or they thought they were trapped. We want to use that human brain ahead of time. We want to go through, we want to learn where are those exits. Like, what am I going to do if? So if I'm there with somebody, let's make that plan when my heart rate is at that 60, 70, 80. Because I can start to make different plans. What happens if we get separated? Well, let's go meet up. We'll meet here at this main bar. What happens if there's a problem here and we have to vacate? Do you know how to get to the car? Do you know how to get to the car? Right? We're going to meet at the car. Maybe the car's too far. Yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't want to stop you. Quickly, we have a lockdown drill monthly in the school system.
Okay.
So we're at human brain, because, you know, we tell the kids where to go, how to sit them. But my question is, has there been any research on unfortunate events where it's not a drill, it's real? Do people go into is it the lizard brain? Because I hate to think that if it happens real, we've discussed that as, sometimes we think, what do we do? Do we really say, okay, you know, Sally, Susie, Johnny, Jimmy, just sit there, and of course we're going to remain calm, because we've had instances where we've had to remain calm because you don't want the kids to see panic. But in your research, have you noticed, do they still stick to that lockdown drill, or do they do other things?
So a lot of the times what will happen is the whole idea of those drills is supposed to be a stress inoculation type thing. And for you to do that, to get your deliberation, what's the plan, what are we going to do? Now, in a lot of cases, I think the best way I can kind of describe it is one of the things that they say when you're training is that you're primed. So if you know that drill is coming, you know it's just an exercise, and you're thinking, all right, I got a test coming up, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to pass this test. I got it. But when you don't know what's coming, we see more panic.
Yeah.
So, but if you constantly train it, I'm kind of jumping ahead on this one, but if you constantly train it, you build your confidence up, and when it comes time, like, you know it, sharp, you got it, right? Those pathways in your brain to getting to what's the plan, it's faster every time you drill. So we do see where those drills do really work, and then we do see where as soon as they realize this is not just a drill, everything changes.
Yes.
All right. So with deliberation, we're trying to think of those plans, and the example I give you is this morning when we first got started. What happens if somebody goes into cardiac arrest, or we have an AED? Right? We know people are trained, right? Everybody remembers whose hand was up, right?
No.
Oh. All right, well, and then part of this, I'd like to point out, there's a famous philosopher named Mike Tyson. He has a great point. He says, everybody's got a plan to get punched in the face. That's right. Right? What are you going to do when you get punched in the face, right? We want to have those different plans, right? We all know what way we came into the church today, right?
Right.
Most of us, when we leave, we're going to go right out those doors, and we're going to go straight back, and we're going to hit those doors and go out. But what happens if we were to smell the smoke, the alarms go off, and we get right there, and we see smoke? We don't want to go that way, right? So we already want to be processing, I have another plan. I just got punched in the face, and this is my other plan. But we need to make that plan when we're working with our human brain. Okay? Lizard brain's not going to do it. Lizard brain is going to reach into the pantry, grab first snack that he gets, pop it in, and off they go. Or maybe you do like me and go, is that just food noise? Am I really hungry? Am I bored? Trying to answer that question myself. All right? So deliberation, we get through, there's a problem, something has happened, our body recognizes it, we're past denial, we know something is wrong, What's my plan? I can't find my plan. It's up here. I can't find my plan. What is it? Calm yourself, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Some of those things that I have up there is stay fit. This doesn't mean just go to the gym, get on the treadmill, all right? Whatever your plan is, make sure it's realistic, all right? So if you have a plan for exiting the house for an alarm, make sure that your plan is realistic, all right? If you have a plan for getting out of your workplace, make sure your plan is realistic. If part of your plan is you have to run down the hall and down a set of stairs, can you do it? Are you able to do that? If your plan is to jump out the window, can you do it?
Yeah.
And if you can't, do you have a device that's going to, you have a ladder? Do you have something that's going to let you get out of that second story window? Or are you like, I don't have it, but if that's where I have to go, that's where I'm going to go. And another question is, and this is not a how big are you think? Can you get through that window? I'm going to tell you that I have seen those buildings. Those windows are not meant for people to climb through. You know, the little, just little sun windows, right? So some of those things are, can I get through it? Another question might be on some walls is, can I go through that wall? Is this just drywall, or is it center block? So do I have to go out? So those are all things like, if I had to, can I do it? Don't go home and break your windows. Don't do that. But if you're at work, you may want to ask a building engineer, you may want to ask somebody there, hey, if I had to, can I break this window? So I'm going to tell you, there's some windows you're not breaking. All right, there's some of that glass, you're not going to break it. All right? So you need to know, like, can I do that? Do I have to have a physical key in order to get out, or an access card? Right? So if that's the case, make sure part of your muscle memory, what you do is you always grab that key. Like wherever, no matter what, I don't have to think about it. I grab that key. So that's why people wear their access cards on lanyards. Or you just have it. So anyways, keep your key by the key bowl if you have to leave the house very quickly, get to the car. Do you always put the keys in the same place? So practice those things. Get to know those things. And the best way on some of these planning things that I can tell you to get in that mode of how do I get out of this is think about this during your normal routes. Like, what happens if I get here and traffic's at absolute stop and I need to get home? Do I know another way around, right? So if you're doing that while you're driving on a regular basis, like you'll start doing that when you go to a restaurant that you're not very familiar with. Where's my other exits? You go to somebody's house that you don't know, hey, don't go wander through the bedroom. Like, how else can I get out of here, right? What if I need to leave quickly, right? So it's just part of going through. Like, what am I going to do if? All right, I'm going to tell you another quick story about a man named Rick Riscola. He was a Great Britain military, United Kingdom military, British. Then he was a London Metropolitan Police officer, immigrated to the United States. He was a United States soldier, fought in Vietnam. If you've seen the movie We Were Soldiers, has Mel Gibson in it, it was based off of a book. They were in Vietnam. It was a story about the first cab, which I could just tell another story about because that was my stepdad's unit when he was in Vietnam, so I'm very proud of that. So they're the first boots on the ground, first conflict in Vietnam. So he is the poster boy. They took a picture of the soldiers on the cover of that book, and he is the cover boy of that book. So he's there, he's in that conflict, gets out of the military, he's hired by Dean Witter Morgan Stanley at the World Trade Center. He is working there in 1993 when there was a bombing in the parking garage inside at the World Trade Center. The alarms go off, and those alarms say shelter in place. He's like, a bomb just went off in this building. And you think, well, we should shelter in place in the building where a bomb just went off. There's a lot of firefighters in New York City. There are not enough that are going to come out and be able to get everybody out of the World Trade Center. So he comes up with an evacuation plan. He is there again on the morning of September 11th. Plane flies into the building. The same alarm goes off. Shelter in place. He says, no, we are not going to shelter in place. The building is on fire. We have to leave. So he starts telling everybody, like let's go. He gets everybody up, comes up. He has the evacuation plan. He starts evacuating people out of the World Trade Center. There's people complaining, I can't keep going. It's a lot of steps. So he gets help a buddy program. He's got the buddy system going. People are complaining, the complaining's getting worse. He starts singing cadence, military cadence, just like you march in a line. He starts singing songs, and he's getting all these people out. He is credited with saving 2,697 lives, something like that. 2,700 people died inside the World Trade Center. Unfortunately for Rick, he was last seen going up, I think, into either the other building or back up to find more people when the buildings collapsed. But he knew what he was doing. So we like to tell that story because here you had somebody that had a plan, ignored the protocol that was not safe. He said that is not a plan. All right? To stand in a building that is on fire is not a plan. I need to take it upon ourselves. We're going to leave. So we like to tell that story about him. All right? I'm going to hit this button in a minute. It's going to give some sounds that are going to sound like gunshots. Okay? Is everybody ready?
Yeah, I can.
All right.
Yes!
All right, so on that one, quick, sharp explosions. And in that case, you were hearing a little bit of rattling on the end, at the end of that. That's a shell casing hitting the ground, right? So when you hear those quick, rapid explosions, it's gunfire, all right? Maybe it's fireworks, maybe it's construction, but treat it like, don't ignore it, all right? Don't ignore it. Don't let that threat get closer to you, all right? Get to deliberation. We're going to start moving into decisive movement, which is the avoid, deny, defend. I'm going to have y'all listen to a story, a little bit of a story by Christina Anderson. She was a student at Virginia Tech.
We heard the first shots at around 9:40 a.m. I was sitting on the wall of the classroom, so in the hallway, and I could hear the shots getting closer and closer very quickly. I mean, there was only a few seconds between the first time we heard them and when he actually walked in. To me, it sounded like an axe being taken to a piece of wood. And our teacher, she opened the door, and she peered outside, and she immediately shut the door, and she said, "Call 911. And right then, he walked in just seconds after. There's absolutely no time to think or to duck or to take cover, and people just kind of fell to the floor. And he immediately walked in shooting, and he went to the other side of the classroom, and he started going down the rows. He went down each row very quickly, very purposefully. And I remember thinking, your turn is coming. You're going to get shot. I mean, I didn't realize there was an active shooter, but I knew something bad was happening. He came back to our classroom 3 times, and on the 3rd time, he killed himself in the front of the class. In between each time he was there, you could just hear people crying and coughing, and the cell phone started ringing. When he was in our class, I remember trying not to breathe very much, so he couldn't tell I was alive. Because as my stomach was hitting the chair, I was thinking, you know, he can see me breathing, he can see me alive, and that was very scary.
Interesting times. We'll kind of come back to this a little bit, but in this, what she's talking about is denial, right? I hear what sounds like wood chopping. She's in an academic building at Virginia Tech. Now they do, and I'll talk a little bit more about that incident in a little bit, but in a college class setting, do you think they have wood shop there? No. Me either, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that, but she got to a point where it is denial, and it does happen very quickly. Again, we're not judging on this, we're learning. It does happen very quickly, but if I deny what I'm hearing, and then I wait and I get shot, if I tell you to go hide and hope, right now, the only thing I can do is hope that mass murderer is not there, is not going to kill me, right? Like, that's the option I give myself if I tell you just to run and hide, right? So the programming, like, for those of you that did the run, hide, fight, we'll relate it a little bit, but those words kind of have meaning to it. So we get to this decisive movement. There's a problem. I've got to do something about this. Now it's time for me to get my plan in place, all right? So what we want to do, the first thing we want to try to do, that run aspect, instead of saying run, because at some point, we're not running anymore, right? We can only run so much. At least I can't do. Some of those ultramarathon people do. We want to avoid that conflict. We want to avoid that threat. So how can I get away from that threat? So that first part to it is situational awareness. Now, I know the pictures aren't great, but the top of the ones are some of the bad examples. Everybody in their phone, right? How aware of your surroundings are you when your face is right here in the screen, right? The other one, I'm guessing that's Photoshop, but I like the illustration of it. There's a person that's got a shark coming up behind him, but he's so focused on the picture, so not being aware. That third picture at the top is a wedge in the door. I can go around to many businesses. I tell this to the city employees. I said, look, I'm in city buildings a lot, and I see that you all do that. And I said, I will tell you, if nobody's by that door, I'm kicking it out. Because if you are depending on that door to be closed for your security, that right there, you got a security problem, all right? So that's bad situational awareness, because now the door that you expected, the security that you expected to be there, is not there. Good situational awareness at the bottom. Got individuals in the boat, got somebody looking well up ahead, one person monitoring what's around them, another person driving, all right, and they communicate. Next one is the camera system that is being monitored. So somebody is there, they are looking at all of these different parts of the building, a school, an office place, and able to communicate what they're seeing. Holding hands, looking before we cross the street, right? Aware of your situation that's going on. This is a quick story on this one. This is a school board meeting in Panama City, Florida. We're talking about a couple of things. Individual is upset that his wife has been terminated. So he comes to the school board, he says, I have a motion, right? That's not very normal. And now he's spray painting on the wall a big V circling, right? Again, not normal. So he's told everybody in this room can leave except for the school board members, and he just pulled out a gun. Nobody's leaving. Be aware of the situation. He tells me again, leave. Here we go. I want to make sure I grab my purse. And there was an armed security guard, but the school board members, because my hair. Lady came from behind with her purse, tried to hit the gun out of his hand. And it's hard to hear this part, but so the lady comes back. This is why we don't say fight. Lady comes back. She has her purse. She tries to hit the gun out of his hand, right? And he's like, "What are you doing?" The men on the board
Sitting there.
they sit there,
Right.
and one of them, it's hard to hear it because, oh, I missed what are you doing, right? Very unaware. No, we stop it at this point. He does end up. He fires a round and doesn't. He only kills himself. But this is like situational awareness, right? There's so many times, you like, especially online, where you're sitting there like, I just want to see what happens, right? When somebody gets up at a school board meeting and spray painting on the side of the wall, do you need to be there anymore? No. Right? Something bad is going to happen. Let's be aware of the situation.
Don't be a jerk.
I'm scared of this guy. He's spray painting. He doesn't look like the paint under me. I'm going to miss the rest of this meeting. I'm out, right? It's time to leave. Let's avoid this situation. The best way that I can survive, the best chance I have, is to get away from the threat. Right? When you're on the beach, where the tsunami's getting ready to come in, the best place I can be is not on the beach. Right? When that nightclub, when it caught fire, the best place I can be is furthest away from that stage I can be at. Right? So I want to avoid that situation as quickly as I can. We're going to go back to the store in Paris a few more times. So, again, leave as quickly as you can. And know your exits. Call 911 when you're safe. All right? Don't stop in danger and call us. Get yourself to safety first. Because we're going to ask you a lot of questions. There goes our gunman. There you go, out of the car. Smart. Leaving the store. Smart. Smart. There you go, guys. Like, something's going on. I'm going to get out. Leave the area. Smart, right? Get out of that area, right? That's the first thing we want to do. Avoid that conflict. This is in the back of that store. I know the pain in the room is hard to see, but you're in a room in the back of the store and two people are kind of huddled down by that ladder, right? So look, there's a door right there, but they just stopped, right? They're hiding. That's all they did. Let's go hide. And it is just that stress response. It's just the stress response at that point, right? And even if that door isn't there, there is a ladder. Now, it's not ideal to climb up the ladder. It's not ideal to be on the roof, but it's better, right? It's better. Like, how many, do you think the gunman's going to climb with his rifle up on the roof and look for you? I mean, maybe, but you give yourself an advantage when he's climbing up the ladder, right? So it's not perfect, but you're trying to find a situation that's better, all right? So I can't avoid, so now, instead of hide, I don't want you to hide, I want you to deny access to yourself from that threat, all right? So we are not denial, deny. Really think we need to work on terminology, but we're going to deny access to that person, all right? So now we're going to hide, but what we're doing is we're going to barricade, we're going to lock the door, try to get them to not even look at us, right? Not even look where we went to. We can get the lights on, we're going to lock the door, we're going to be quiet, turn our cell phones off, do all that stuff, right? The more that you can do for a barricade, the better, right? What can we do and what do we have in the room? We have chairs, right? We have furniture. Yeah. We have all this stuff that we can start getting up against doors, right? Even if you can't stop a person from coming through, slow them down, right? Because if you can slow them down, you're giving yourself an advantage, all right? So that's the next thing. There's door stops. Like, look for those door stops. Look, do you have ropes? Do you have a belt? Do you have something that you can stop somebody from coming through the door? The glass on the door is not great, so can we cover it? The doors, look at the doors and figure out, how do I stop that door from opening? A lot of the ones in here have the arms on the top of the door. If you can stop that arm from expanding, you'll stop the door from opening. So just take a look at doors ahead of time. Like, how would I deal with this? Now, the best part about this room is I can get out quickly, right? But if I can set up a barricade, if I can put a barricade up there and somebody does come through it, typically it is only one shooter, right? It does happen when there's more than one, but if that shooter's coming through, I have all sorts of other exits. So if I can slow them down, that gives me a chance that I can go back into a void, right, and get away from it. All right, so we always want to reassess our plan. Again, go back to that room. I know it's hard because of the paint and dark color, but what else can we do to deny at this point?
They could shut the door and barricade it.
Yep, we can shut the door, right? And look what we have barricaded. Looks like it's like water or something like that that's got a cover over top of it. But then we also have all these shelves, right? So we've got all this junk, this stuff in there that we can just push up against that door, right? So there's still things that we can do. I'm not here to sell you anything, all right? I'm not a salesman for any of this stuff. But I want you to know that there are products out there that you can use. Door stops are very, very simple. Again, it might not stop the door from opening, but what can it slow it down, right? Don't get just a simple wood one on high traffic parking because it'll just slide right off, right? But think like door stops. They make these products that you can put up to stop the door, to barricade a door that you can just drop in place. They have the tension sleeves, whatnot, but ropes, belts. Like, can I get on there and get some leverage and hold it closed, all right? So there's a lot of different things out there. I just want to make you aware of that. Now, we have done everything that we can. It gets to a point of defend. Each one is a less chance of survival, but if you get trapped in a place, it's time to defend. And I say defend instead of fight because I don't want you to go look for that fight. I don't want you to be like Agnes and go find the person and use your purse to hit the gun. That's not going to work, all right?
Right.
It might, but we want to defend. All right, so I'm clearly not going to pull my own gun out. So picture this being a gun. The only part of the gun that's going to hurt you is this end right here, okay? So we don't want this pointing at me or anyone else. So up, back, right, down. Anything you can do to get this like straight up. And if somebody's holding here, it is easier on leverage for you to push up than it is for them to hold down. Okay, does that make sense? What I'm saying? So even if this person's stronger, has a good firing position and whatnot, if I've got somebody with all their might pushing up, it's going to be hard for me to win that leverage battle. Okay. Also, like one of the things we've talked with teachers about, they're like, we can't have weapons and stuff like that in the classroom. You can have food drives, right? You can have canned food drives. You know how difficult it would be to fire accurately if I have Campbell's soup cans being hurled at my face? Pretty difficult, right? It's just thoughts, right? So grab that part that is dangerous. Get it away from you. And there are no rules at this point for you. All right? Eyes, groin, throat, hurt them. All right? Defend yourself. Right? And think of it as defending yourself. Don't worry about legal consequences at this point. All right? Be here. Be here to face the consequences. Okay? Go home so that you can face consequences if there are. All right? It's not going to be likely. As long as you are within that defend. Now, that person is separated from a weapon. We get this question a lot. The person is separated from the weapon. They're on the ground, knocked out, and you come running into the room, pick up the gun, and fire a couple rounds into them. That's not defending anymore. Now, there might be a legal defense when it comes to court, but you may be going to court on that. All right? But we say defend because you can defend yourself. You may be able to disarm the person. You may be able to debilitate them for a little bit. You may have a chance of getting away again. Right? We can go back to avoid. All right? So that's why I say defend, not fight. All right? So we want to keep that I'm defending myself mentality going. What do I do? Yes, ma'am?
But let's say you're in your house and someone breaks in and you see that they have a gun.
Yeah.
And you run and grab your gun and shoot him.
There's still a threat, right? You're still defending yourself.
That's what I said.
Yeah, just leave them in the house.
Right. In your own house, the person has a gun, right? You are still defending yourself, right? Just because you have to leave and come back, you're in your house, you're defending. So can you defend, are you defending yourself? Again, be here to face the consequences, all right? You understand what I'm saying with that? Don't let that assailant win, all right? Whatever you need to put your mind to of why it's better, why it's more important for me, whatever I need to motivate myself to get in that fight and make myself safe, you do, all right? Defend yourself, and then worry about the consequences later. But be here to deal with those consequences, all right? Worst case scenario is you're going to have to go to court, and we'll see what happens from there. But be there for that, all right? All right, back to our store in Paris. Hey, honey, listen, something's happening, I got to go. And then some little vino. Just in case, right? It was. This is what we don't want to do. This is a part, it's hard not to laugh, like this is where I just gave up, right? The individual knows he has not come down that aisle yet. He's going to shoot you. Don't just give up, all right? The individual that you saw grab the bottle of wine, he was able, like as he was walking up where the gunshots was, the shooter went down the aisles, and he's one of the ones that you see exiting. So, but he was ready. Like, I might have to defend myself. And I think some of the instructors said, they said the only mistake that man made was he only took one. You might need one as a weapon, you might need one to calm down later. So, he was ready. He grabbed himself a little something. I'm going to clock him if I have to. But he ended up, he found a way to avoid. So, perfect example. So, if anything you take away from this, what you do matters. All right, that's what our research says. Let's go through this flow chart again. You always want to get to avoid. All right, if you had to run, you had to hide, and you're barricading up, you're denying access, and you know the shooter goes away, or whatever it is. The fire is, I have another way of escape. Can I get back to avoid? Like reassess, always reassess. What can I do now? If you made a bad decision, you made a poor, just like anything else in life, I made a poor decision, you get to this point, you still have an avenue of escape, and you can get back to avoid, okay? All right, so I just put that up there to show you. All right, talk about Virginia Tech real quick. This is the campus. This is Norris Hall. This is the second floor of Norris Hall. So this is a schematic of it. Our shooter comes in. He goes into room 206. They have no time. They have no idea what is happening. There was a shooting on campus earlier in the residential area where a student and I believe the RA were killed by the same person. So he diverted the law enforcement to that side of the campus early in the morning. He then came goes into room 206, and he fires. All of those red dots and squares that you see are students that were shot and killed. The yellow are students that were shot, or people that were shot but survived, and the green, they were not shot. Okay? So then he goes directly across the hall to room 207. This is, there is a Corps of Cadet Air Force student, and he comes up, when he hears the gunshots, he knows that this person coming in is a shooter. He goes up, grabs the gun, and starts fighting with him. He takes several of the rounds himself, ends up killing him, but you see a lot of the students in the classroom did not get shot. Or they got shot and survived because he couldn't do anything else with it. You hear Christina Anderson talk about that one. This is where she's hearing those gunshots. Then he goes into room 211 and he shoots. This is the one he goes into, like he leaves, he comes back, he leaves, comes back. So he shoots everybody in there. When he's going back to the different rooms, he doesn't go back to room 207 because he was confronted there. He keeps going to room 211 because he thinks there's people still alive in there each time, and all they can do at that point is like try not to breathe, right? So that's why he keeps going back to that room. Now he starts making his way down to room 204. This is where there's a Professor Levishku who was a Holocaust survivor. You think he has an idea what's going on? Oh, yeah. No denial there, right? So he tells his students, jump out that second story window. And he and his teacher say, stop the shooter from going in there. You see a couple of them are shot as they go out the window. But this is what happens here. He then tries to go across the hall. Now, Virginia Tech has got a whole bunch of engineering students. So they're starting to think they have time. They make a human chain and barricade the door. The shooter comes up, he starts trying to open it. He can't see through the door, he shoots through the door, but nobody is shot in there. And then as he walks away, they start building a big barricade up against that door so that he can't get in. He goes back to room 211 where he can shoot some more and he keeps on going. And then when he gets to a point, he feels like he shot everybody he can. He goes back in and kills himself. So in room 206, in room 206 you had nothing, right? No denial, nothing, right? And those are the results. Room 207, you had defend. Room 211, you had denial. 204, you had avoid. And 205, you had deny, right? So right there on that floor, we have all of these different parts of the avoid, deny, defend that we talk about in our class. So this is where we do our case study. So what those students did, and the teacher, and the teacher's aide, with the Corps of Cadet student, what they did mattered. That dictated what happened for the rest of the day. Not the fact that the shooter came in to their building, right? It was their actions that actually made a difference. All right, so I'm gonna start flying through to wrap this up. When we arrive, so when police arrive, I'm gonna speak from Newport News' perspective on this, all right? Hampton does not differ very much. The first goal for us is to find the shooter and stop that threat. We are moving for the shooter. We will walk right past injured people. We should, if we follow our training. We will walk right past injured people as long as that shooting's still going. We want to stop the shooting. Every gunshot that goes off could be another life. So that's where we're going first. Then we are going to find all of the injured, and we're going to start rendering what aid we can. Now we carry, with us in Newport News, we have a trauma bag that is specifically meant for, we have some other tools in there, but it's specifically meant for gunshot wounds, to keep the blood inside the body, right? So we're going to do that first level of care. Try to get you so that we can pass you the, shouldn't say you. Hopefully, we're all wasting our time. We'll never have to use any of this, all right? But in case we're trying to take our victims and we're trying to give them the best chance of survival. So we're going to give that first level of care, or with the people that we have there, and try to get them to a point where the medics, who have more training, more experience, more tools, to where they can start rendering aid. And then they're going to render more advanced care than we can. And then they're going to take them to the emergency room where the doctors and the surgeons can administer more, all right? After we set that part up with the injured, then we're going to go through and we're going to start evacuating the building. So if you have gone and hidden in the back of the building, that's great. We'll get to you, but you're going to be there for a little while, all right? And if we start knocking on the door and you have any question, it's us, just tell us how you want us to prove it's us. We don't care. You want us to take the badge off our shirt and throw it on the door, we'll do that. You want us to tell you your phone number that you can call dispatch and ask for names, we will do that. All right? Once everything slows down, we've got all the time in the world. All right? We should not be breaking in the door if you guys are like talking to us, type thing. Okay? If you're not sure, just be quiet. All right? I will tell you, eventually, we're going to come in with keys. All right? We'll get the building. So we have a process of how we're going to go about doing that. When the police arrive, listen to what they are saying. Depending on when they encounter you, they could still be up on that stress level too, right? So nothing in your hands. I promise you, you do not need your phone in your hand to record this incident. Your brain will replay it, all right? Don't have anything in your hands. Like the police officers that respond, they're there, they're looking for a shooter, right? Anything in the hand, they're going through these questions of, is that a gun in the hand? All right, so like this and this look very different, okay? So listen to what they're saying. And again, if you're on the other side of a door and they're telling you open the door and you aren't convinced it's us, you just tell me how I need to convince you it's me. All right? There's whatever I can do. I'll snap a selfie and text it to you if I need to. Okay? So if you're in those situations. If you are responsible for your personnel, you know, this is one of those things we talked about with Virginia Beach. Like, what did you do afterwards? Like, you need to have a level of care. There's going to be a lot of trauma to this. So what are you offering? And so we talk about that a little bit in the city. We have professional counselors. We have emergency assistance for personnel. We have peer counseling groups. So we have a lot of different things in there. So we tell that to people that if you are responsible for a building, like, be ready for that. If you want to practice, like, it's a cycle. All right, you practice. Make sure you critique it. Like, what do we do good? What do we do bad? What do we do ugly? Let's fix the ugly, then fix the bad, and keep mimicking the good. All right, and then we drill it again. We try it again. All right, what can we do better? What can we do better? All right, so we want to constantly do that. When you're planning those things in, have goals. What are we going to do? Are we going to just sit around and talk about it first? We're going to do like a tabletop. Hey, this is what we're going to do. What if? Make sure you're bringing in all the stakeholders so that you get lots of different inputs. All right. And put out notifications. Tell people, like, if it's going to be loud, tell everybody what you're going to do. Get to the evaluation part. Very quick on that, really. Tell people what you're going to do. All right. Do not surprise people on these active drills because they are going to respond the way they normally would. You will create trauma because even though it wasn't a real situation, that's not how the person perceived it at one point. All right, you will scare people doing that. You also may get a real response. So if you were to have somebody come in here with a cap gun and start popping off blanks or whatnot, you may have somebody that's got a real weapon that's going to fire back. All right, so you're going to create real problems. Let people know, like, this is what we're doing. Notify everyone around you. I was at the gym one day and I saw an ad come up or a news story come up where they did this in a school. They didn't tell anybody it was going to be a drill. They came in, they had what we call airsoft guns, and the airsoft guns, they do hurt. I know there's a question somewhere. Oh, we'll get to you. And they ended up, like, shooting the teachers with these airsoft guns. And I don't know why. Like, I can't explain why. Like, I have no idea. They're like, you need to know. Like, they made them get down with their hands behind their back. I don't know why they did that. These are bad ideas. You don't shoot the teachers with the airsoft guns. Like, I don't know. So think through. Like, if that was your plan, say it out loud to some other people. Like, hey, this is what we're going to do. You're going to shoot my teachers? Yes. Why? Well, they need to know that it's going to hurt. I'm pretty sure they know. Teachers, you know. So know what your plan is, all right? And we talked about lockdown, like things that happen. And let me be very, very clear on lockdown aspect of it. I'm not saying a lockdown has no value, all right? But when it comes to a lockdown, there's a lot of problems. If your only plan is to lock down, it is not enough. That is somebody checking a box and leaving it alone, right? Who can authorize a lockdown in the schools?
Administrators.
Just administrators.
Yes.
So if you need a lockdown and you're the teacher who sees a person with a gun, you've got to find one of the administrators where you can lock down?
Well, we definitely call straight to the office. And we can,
okay.
Yes.
All right, just administrators. You have an answer.
I said,
We can't hear.
can't hear.
Well, hold on.
For everybody, I don't know if it's for everybody's school. Wait a minute, we can't hear you.
Oh.
Hold up, mic coming.
Yes, I don't know if it's for everybody's school, but for our school, what we do is we automatically have our doors locked and we keep our doors shut.
Okay.
Because the administrators have the key to get into our room if they need to get in there.
Okay, so it's already locked.
And we already changed.
Okay. All right. So some of the things that have come up before is who can authorize a lockdown. I've also heard, so that's one answer that I've gotten. It has to be this person, has to be this person, has to be this person. I've also heard anybody. I was like, okay, anybody. So if I am a substitute teacher from a different school and I walk into this school or whatever, I'm just a school employee or a city employee, and I see something and I yell, lockdown, anybody gonna listen to me? Probably not. So not anybody, right? A lot of flaws in that system. So where does it come from? And like in this case, it's all the doors are already locked, right? But who authorizes it? How is it coming out? How do you get that message out? So there's a lot more to just locking down. And again, I'm not going to tell you lockdowns have no value. They absolutely do, but it's not the entire plan. And the reason it's not the entire plan is, what are you going to do here for a lockdown, right? If I lock down at this point, I just created a target-rich environment, right? Another problem with the lockdown is at some point during a lockdown, you have to close your door. The door has to be shut. If you're a teacher and you're charged with taking care of all these students, and I tell you, lockdown, you're not letting them in your classroom? Right? So there's a moment, though, that everything has to lock. So I'm just telling you that. And then if you lock down and the building goes on fire, what did Rick Scholas teach us? Don't stay in the burning building. Right? All right, so wrap this up. During my presentation, and all the instructors that do this, you'll notice at no point in time did I ever say a suspect's name at any given point. I will not martyr them. I will not make them famous. I will not pass on whatever their movement was, right? Instead, I'm going to talk about people like Matthew Laporta, who was the Corps Cadet student at Virginia Tech that got up and tried to disarm the suspect and tried to save some of his students, all right? Which he did, and died in return for it. Professor Leveshoe, who was a Virginia Tech teacher, told his students to get out the window. Right, we're going to talk about people like that. Yes, ma'am.
My question was about going back to you showing me your badge.
Sure.
How do I distinguish between a fake one and somebody? Because so many people impersonating police officers.
What else would you want?
How do I know it's a real badge?
Okay, what else would you want?
Is it distinguishing?
It's going to be more than me. So, I mean, you could look up every single badge. You can buy a Newport News police badge, right? So if that's not enough for you, tell me you want my ID. I'll slide my ID underneath.
Okay.
Tell me you want a phone call. Okay. I'll call you on my phone. All right. I will happily tell you, call our emergency dispatch number that you can find on Google. Call that number and ask them. Is Captain Cup on the other side of my door talking to me right now? Like, who is the officer that's trying to get into room 511, whatever. Okay? All right. Does anybody know who this lady is? She was a teacher at Sandy Hook Elementary School. She stood in front of her door, and when the shooter tried to get in, she wouldn't let him in. Physically, she would not let him in. Said, he asked where all the students were. And she said, they're not here, it's just me. He said, you're lying, let me in. She goes, nope. They're all at the library. You don't need to come in. He said, yeah, I'm coming in. And he shot through the door. She still would not let him in. Barricaded herself up against the door. Had all of her kids go to the back. They either had like a bathroom or like an area in the back. She had all of her kids go to the back of the room. And she sat there and would not let him in, physically would not let him in. He just kept shooting through the door, hitting her. She would not. She goes, they're not hidden here. They're not here. They're in the library. So these are the people that we talk about, right? Let's talk about her. We used to have another lady up there, just talking about that personnel part, and this is where I wrap up. We used to have another lady in here, so I'm gonna stop using her as an example because as I read more about her, I found out this lady, she was a school teacher in a town I've never heard of, and I've never heard of that town again, other than this story. A student comes in with a duffel bag and he was either suspended or she just knew something wasn't right. Sets his duffel bag down, he pulls out a rifle. She jumps up from her seat, she runs, she tackles him, holds him on the ground. He fires off a couple rounds, but nobody's killed. School resource officer hears everything, comes in, gets him in custody. Never even made national news, right? That lady, like they should name the school after her at the very least, right? But there was like no attention to her. Now, as I read later on, she wants zero attention for it because every time somebody makes her a hero, it brings back trauma. So after I learned about that, like I've taken her out of my presentation. I'll tell you her story, but I won't tell you her name, all right? And I mean, people even tried to like make her ultimate. She was a big fan of a TV show. They tried to win a prize for her and tell that story, and it traumatized her. So be aware of that. Like just something to be aware of, all right? So Victoria Soto is somebody that we would want to mention, all right? So I don't pass along those names. So just kind of wrapping up, we talked about those different red flag indicators. We talked about some different events that have happened. We talked about the research that was done for disaster response. We talked about avoid, deny, defend instead of run, hide, fight, which run, hide, fight's a good way. Just use those words, avoid, deny, defend. All right, and we did the case study aspect to it. So I want to be respectful of everybody's time, but I am okay. I'm going to hang out. If there's questions at all, I'm going to answer them, but my presentation part is over. So up on my screen, up on the screen, the two emails that are up there, the bottom one, cuprc@nnva.gov, that's me. Please email me. If you find my office number online, I really would prefer you just email me, because part of what I do is I look at some technology for our department, and man, I get phone calls from people that a lot of times I don't answer my phone because I get overwhelmed with just salesmen. So please email me if you ever have a question. If you want to hit all of our instructors that CRASE, C-R-A-S-E, or if you're interested in us doing classes, if it's in Hampton, if it's not inside of Newport News, please reach out to the Hampton Police Department first and see if they're willing to do that. I understand tomorrow I did try to do that and they just weren't available because I don't want to come in and step on their shoes, all right? Just like I wouldn't want them to come to Newport News if I was available to teach people in Newport News. My understanding is people here are Newport News residents, and also I have no problem teaching this class. None of the instructors that teach this material, everybody wants to do it. Nobody is mandated to be an instructor for this, and we won't make anybody. So people really do like teaching this material. I like teaching it, so I stay up on all the different things. I love hearing the questions, because if I don't know the answer, then it's something I want to learn about, all right? So my presentation is over. I know I have some questions.
Okay, thank you for the presentation.
Okay.
I'm thinking a little bit more strategically.
Okay.
I get it. I get it. We know this is going to happen. We know since 1999, 2000, these events started to occur, and they're occurring more frequently.
Yep.
My question is, prior to that, very rarely did we have mass shootings.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if somebody is looking at it from this standpoint, what is it that's causing this? I think a lot of the stuff moving forward is maybe copycat or things of that nature. But what is it that we as a country, perhaps, whoever can do, what can we do to maybe squash it? And I'll give you an example. You remember the guy, the shooter in Maryland, who was in the car with the gun?
Oh, yeah, the
Right.
DC sniper.
Okay. I haven't heard that happen again. People wanted to be able to go to the gas station, pump gas, feel comfortable. They took it out. But it seems like to me, it seems like there's something more that we can do as a society to maybe even try to prevent this. And you have the whole list of mental illness, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But I was just wondering, I see where the police, you talk about how the police is training better, how they're getting there faster, how we're training, how we're responding. We're doing that part. But it's something in the bigger picture that we can do, perhaps. Just your thoughts.
So if I had the one answer, I promise you I would have already shared it. And I believe, again, this is me and just what I believe. I believe that there is a lot of different factors that go into that. I think some of the big ones that are, I think when we were younger, a lot of us, we remember hearing about the serial killers, right? The ones that were profiled and just sick and demented with how they were going about killing people and whatnot. I think now there's this rage that's just out there, and I mean, cowards. They go out and get a gun and just go out and just shoot people randomly. But the driving part is why are there people that want to do that now when it didn't happen before? And I think a lot is just the level of stress in daily lives now. When I was younger, if I had a problem at school at 2:45, whatever time school was over, I didn't have to be at school anymore. I could go home. I didn't anything that was bothering me, whatever stress I had, whatever bully I might have had, whatever political issue I might want to talk about, whatever hate I have in my heart, whatever problem that I don't know about, I could isolate myself. Now, 24/7 information streaming in there, right? You got algorithms that will just keep feeding you whatever you click on. So if you hate this one thing, and every time you see an article on that one thing that you hate, it's just feeding you and feeding you and feeding you. And it's driving those emotions even more. And then you got people that just have these ideology out there trying to convince you, and now they have an easier stream of being able to do that. So I think like that is part of why it's just driven, is that you've got people that cannot turn it off. The world doesn't shut off anymore. And whether the stuff that you see on the news, social media, things that are happening, the stressors that are happening in your life, whether you want them or not, it's hard. It's just harder to avoid them. So I think that is driving to the mental aspect of it. And then again, the rage aspect is because people can make things seem like a big problem when they're really not a big problem, right? Like I'm a big soccer fan. Me and my I have. One of my daughters is very competitive in soccer, and we tried to make a thing of it this summer. And so we're following some of the social media influencers that were doing that. And the one that, man, I love it. So my new way of thinking is there's a German influencer that was posting on social media, just did this big tour. And he said, if you want to love America, go see it. Because if you want to hate it, watch the news. Right? So I was like, oh my goodness, that's a quote. There's so much wisdom. Going out and actually getting to know people and being connected and understanding, like that person, like having a mentor, having a person that has nothing to gain except they want to see you succeed. There's lots of people like that in this world that want to see other people succeed, that want to have that positive influence. But if you can isolate that, and I can look at another person and not realize like that person's like that, it drives like just different problems, different things. If I watch the news and I can let the news convince me that there's all these problems, there's something that I can get behind and be like, yeah, that's a problem. Although I never see it. I've never seen it. I don't know anything about that city or that city, something that's going on. I don't know anything about it, but they can convince me that it's a problem that's going to be at my city now soon, right? So I think that is a really, really big thing. I think that so now that's creating more hate. We are all just more driven now. Everything is bipolar, where people are trying to divide and move everyone one way or another, put people against each other, and that just increases the hate. So the motive is there. How do we decrease that motive? Well, there's a lot of different ways that's a lot of work beyond me. All right, so my small part on it is educating people on this is what I know based off of research that's been given to me. And so that's why I try to do my part into it. And I hope that when you all leave here, some of those indicators that you saw up there, if you can stop one person from having a problem, then hopefully it was worth your 2 hours. You know, if it takes like making the building a little bit harder, that's great.
Speaking of the building, I'm an educator, so we do this all the time at school. But my question for today is, what do we now do at Bethel AME? I look around, you know, when I think about the population, and I'm not sure which one of the steps it would have been, but like I look at the population, and if something were to happen, what do we do? You know, it was nice. I mean, we know about grocery stores and everything else, but now how do we take the information you shared to our benefit? Are there people that come out and train, specifically churches, congregations? Who would be the person that would then say, well, this is what we need to do at Bethel? I mean, you know, me, I think of I could bust up and run out of here in a minute, but so many others in our population, in our congregation. wouldn't be able to do that. So what would be
So there
our
is,
first
and
steps?
I can't speak for Hampton. I'm sure that they have something along the lines, but we have some community resource officers that do extra training on what's crime prevention specialists. That's a national recognition on training, and part of their training is threat assessment. And so that part of it is, so that's what you're looking for, is threat assessment. And that is going through, and I would even say have Hampton come out here with you and just walk. I know they will. Just have them walk through the building with you. Now, there are private contractors out there that would do the same thing. Yeah, I'm not here to sell you anything. But that's like going through, like walking through, and I mean, a quick walk through, I have no problem doing that, but it is not my area of specialty. Like, security is not my area of specialty. So, like, there are people that know a lot more than me. Like, I know my limits on it. But there are devices that you can do, there are procedures that you can do, and I get this a lot with churches. Some of the things that I can pass on to you is, like, when you have events, one of the biggest deterrences is a greeter. Not an armed security, a greeter. So research that was done talking to armed robberies for banks. When they were picking banks, they were going through, one of the deterrences that they would have with the banks is as soon as they walked in, there was somebody there to greet them. So as soon as they walk in, they know there's attention on them. You can't just go wander around and start casing your building when they know who you are. So a greeter, just stopping them, again, making that brain reset, makes them go. So are you vigilant when you're here? So do you have somebody greeting people as they come in? Do you have controls on where people can wander? Do you have to be trusted to go past the sanctuary during the day, like on service days or during events? So that it's tough on a church because you want to be welcoming, right? We want to be welcoming, but we need to be safe, right? So can anybody come into the lobby? And I mean, do you have security personnel? Is that something that you all have talked about doing?
So just to enlighten everyone in the room, this is our second course of going through this process. We do have security protocol that we, as a trustee board, had actually kind of put together. We just have to re-go over it again with pastor's permission. We are going to attempt to do that possibly on a particular Sunday so that we can have a walkthrough and a response. For everyone in the room, I don't know if anyone has taken a snapshot to see all of the exits. Anybody off the top of your head know how many exits are in this building?
And not just this room.
Well, every exit besides those two double doors over there head outside. There's a total of 6 exits throughout this whole entire building. So including those double doors back there, they exit directly to the outside. Those exit directly to the outside. That exit's right there. And those doors over there exit as well. So we as a body had even spoke about in an active shooter situation that the most secure place in this building right now would be, for the most part, the kitchen area. That was one of those things that we had.
Yeah, but in an active shooter situation, you do not want to gather in one place and rally in one place. You want to get out and get away as fast as you can. And that does not mean going to your car, because then you'll be a sitting duck in the parking lot trying to get out of there.
We had not finished completely discussing that portion of it, because if the shooters are outside and we were to head outside, then now we have just become part of the threat. So those are things that we are still currently working on as a congregation, to be honest with you, and how we can respond truly to that.
And let me say, even with the plan should never be final. You should always reassess it, right? Should always reassess it, just like if something happens.
Let me just add to them, because I'm a trustee, several trustees in here. We also have, particularly on our Sunday service, we have a security officer here, the sheriff, who cases the church, during the whole service, accompanies the treasurer to the bank. We have security cameras in the office. I don't know if the pastor has an office, but we have security cameras where you can see the entire perimeter of the church. So there's a lot of things that, we've been planning this and doing this over the last almost 20 years.
Yeah.
But I guess when we do the security thing, if anybody wants to do a tour of the church, anybody wants to, a tour that's never done it, we'd be glad to do it. Just so that you know how to exit.
Yeah. And real quick, I'm going to keep taking questions, but I do want to make sure everyone knows, like, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I'm fine for questions right now, but if you need to get up and go, I really do appreciate your time taking Saturday morning coming and listening to my question.
Yeah.
You all have been engaging. I can tell just people were acknowledging, like as I was speaking, so I really do appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that we do when we have sorority meeting is that we have a video that is shown prior to the meeting. That video has all of the exits for the building. It tells us where we need to go. It tells us how we need to get there. And it's played at the beginning of every meeting. That might be something that we might want to consider doing. It's not a long thing, but you know, you may have people who never get to service, who come, or people who are visitors who come in and they don't know. So if that video is showing at the beginning of the church service, prior to church service, then people know where your exits are and they know how to get out and so forth and so on. Yeah, that was my point of view. But then I want to ask this question: why do you think that 99.99% of the people who are these shooters are male?
It's not 99.99%.
It's 100%.
It's not. It's not. There's actually more women than you think, and it's more and more happening now. But it's. I mean, you've met boys, right? We're dumb. I mean, it really, the rage, it is, the violence, it is more susceptible to men. That's all physiology. Just lack of being able to express ourselves, how to deal with anger, and sometimes, like, just not processing, like, whatever's making us angry, a lot of times we aren't processing it. Why is that making me angry? Why is that a trigger? Why did, I forgot where the guy came from. So, why did somebody who didn't live in Buffalo, why is he upset over this community, this neighborhood in Buffalo? Like, what trigger do you have that was going, there was one where he came from out of the area, basically saw some news stories. I think it was after some protests, and there was a news story about something happened in Buffalo. And this individual goes to a neighborhood in Buffalo, and that's where he picks. Like, what is it? Like, why are you so angry about somebody in Buffalo being upset over somebody that's something that they protested? What triggers do you have? And I think men have a harder time processing their feelings. They certainly don't talk about them.
Right.
Now, I'm going to tell you, like, I'm sure there's some other veterans in here and whatnot.
We got a question over here.
Yeah, the way that we process some of our thoughts, it was healthy to us, but now, you know, we're just kind of joking.
Come over here, please. There's another question over here first. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't really have a question. I just want to, like, enlighten the folks in here. I've already done the threat assessment with HPD, and I'm in the process of rewriting the EAP.
Yeah, and
for Bethlehem. The next step was getting the fire marshal here and walking on grounds as well.
Yeah, and I like I want to say, even with that research, whenever you do it, whenever you come up with that plan, don't ever think the plan is final.
Right.
Like, it's something that always should be at least assessed. Like, just do reviews on it. There's new construction. What did that change? You know, new leadership. What does that change? You see a new event, a new threat. What did it change? Please.
I know that with everything, the school shootings, they increase security. I mean, we're at Fort Knox in Hampton City Schools. And then we also, in terms of even opening doors, I saw that.
Yep.
Where they had the prop open. We would get dinged.
Yep.
And we can't even open the door. If you were to come there saying you're a police officer, even at the door and say open the door, we still have to call the office and say someone's trying to get in.
So in Newport, News, we have access. Our police.
I'm just saying, if you didn't have a key to get in, and you said, well, you know, I'm officer, blah blah blah. We're like,
that needs to be right. That
needs to learn how not to be nice.
Yeah, and that needs to be part of the plan, though. If there's an emergency and you have uniformed police officers showing up, then Like, what are you gonna do? But if nobody's coming to the door and we need to get in, we're coming in. It's just gonna be slower. We're coming in.
Right, but I just mean in terms of just anyone coming to our doors, we have to teach the students. But I go on that to say because of all the school shootings, that was a result of just the security lockdown in the schools. What about the colleges? Because when I saw that Virginia Tech thing, have they increased their
Depends on the college.
lockdown? Okay.
Nowhere near to the extent of the K-12 schools. And ODU is a perfect example of that. And we're going to have their police chief is coming to speak to our command staff. I think next month. But in a lot of cases, and there's, oh man, there's so much to that. Was it Brown? It was Brown University, right, in Providence, where they had the shooter and he was tied to. So it was the same thing. A lot of colleges, they come in at the beginning of the day, and a lot of them they feel like there's rules. I don't know all the red tape. I don't know all the bureaucracy, but they want to be open. So I'm a public school, so we have a public campus, and anybody can come onto a public campus. Well, okay. But do you have to let them into every single building? Could you? So colleges, they all have their own things. I went to New Haven for work one time, and of course, while I was there, I wanted to go see Yale. And I'm going to tell you, they have gates that they'll close up parts of the campus and whatnot. But that's a private school, so every college is different. But I have not seen any college to the level, other than maybe the military service academies, that have the same level as K-12, and it's because they're all adults. I mean, they're 18-year-olds. Now you can't just walk into a dorm, that's not the ones that I've seen in Virginia, and I've been doing I'm at that part parenthood now, where we're doing the tours and everything. You can't just walk into a dormitory, which is great, but I can certainly go into the science building. I can certainly go into the athletic building. So I mean, that's good that those are so secure, but every college would be their own thing.
Thank you. And I know, like, even back in that, going into the kitchen, we're told as educators, it used to be, all the kids go in that corner. Now, no. Every child in each class has a section they're supposed to go to.
That's good.
Because they said if they're in that one pile,
Well, and I mean, the thought processes are there, and if there was one perfect plan, I mean, I would give it out for free. It's just like this with the avoid, deny, defend. Like when we talk about it, is like that ladder. Like somebody showed up to a building with a gun, and you didn't know it was going to happen, right? You're in a bad situation. I just want to make it better. I want to give myself a chance, and I only need to give myself a chance, unless you're in a very rural areas. I just want to give myself a chance. I just need to survive until police get there. We're going to win. I promise you, we're bringing resources. We're going to win, all right? There's been some really bad things that have happened out there, but I promise you we have the resources that we are going to win. And you just need to be safe until we can get that win, all right? Or we can get them to engage us, So that's what we're really looking at. And everything is, I just need to make my situation better. It's not going to be good. It's one of the instructors that I teach with brings up a really, really good point. He said, the best asset we have, the most valuable resource we have is time. And when something unexpected happens to us, we lost a lot of our most valuable asset. And the example he gives, he said, if somebody were to come to me and say, on July 31st, 2028, that cruise that you're going on is going to sink. He's like, what's my chances of survival on that? He said, I promise you it's 100%. You know why? He goes, I'm not going to get on the boat. Right? But if the boat has already left the dock and you can't see land anymore, well, now you've lost some of that valuable asset. So now look at it. So that's where you're at. Is now you have to compensate for losing that valuable asset. Yes, all right.
I'm in the choir stand, and
I'm in the media booth.
And I've got concealed carry permit. I've been trained to use the gun. The gunman comes in here. If I have access to shoot him, can I shoot him?
Are you defending yourself? Yes.
I'm defending my people
Yes.
in here. I mean,
Yes, legally you can defend yourself.
I can,
Legally you can defend yourself. Now, one of the questions that does come up, please don't have that gun in your hand when we get here. Because we're coming to shoot it. I'm really not trying to make light of this. But I want to make sure, I want to be very clear, like when people ask us on this class, like what about the armed citizen? Like we are, there's Second Amendment, we're allowed to carry a gun, and I have a concealed weapon. You're absolutely correct, you can, and you can defend yourself. But what I'm telling you is that when we're called, we're coming to a shooting. I don't know, or you don't know what information I have.
Yeah.
Somebody may have told me a citizen just shot the original suspect. That citizen's wearing a white shirt and she's in the back line of the choir. Somebody else may have, whoever called might be outside and says somebody just walked into Bethel and they just opened fire. And it's the person with the gun.
I got you. Yeah. I got you.
So, like I said, I don't mean to make light of it. Please don't have that gun when I get it.
Thank you all for coming. I hope you learned some things that will help you survive if there is an active threat in the area.